G'day, citizens. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algared. He was a little fuzzy. We just had some fuzziness problems with focus there. Mr. Pissball Pete's tapping his pocket watch. It shows how old Pete is, though, doesn't it, Algared, if he's got to tap his
It does.
pocket watch?
It does. If he's stretching his pocket, well, fob watch is the
Mm.
correct term. It just shows, I'm just showing how old I am.
You know to correct him. I've got to grab a photo, Algared, to show you. I got sent this by a few people this week, so I'm going to open it on the browser and then show you. Yeah, I was got sent this by a whole bunch of people this week. They said they saw you on the telly. They were watching you on the telly.
Yeah,
Split an image. Yeah, look, looks just like you. What do you guys think in chat? Does it look like Algared? I think they got the makeup just right. Yeah, I think they did a good job. Yeah. So yeah.
I'm not a conehead.
It's not a conehead. He's actually he's a Jedi, Algared. It's a compliment, I think. Looks just like you. Split an image.
And so he gets done in Order 66, so
yes, he does. But they brought him back in this new blasphemy called the Acolyte, and he's stuffing up all the lore left, right, and center. So yeah.
Oh, he's stuffing up all their current lore. That's good.
Yeah. No.
Abomination.
People don't do that, man. They come in and stuff up the old lore. So basically, this guy is appeared in a show that's set before his lifetime. He would have been born 40 years after the show is set, and they've just like changed his age. There was a big thing because they were complaining about. There's a guy called Star Wars Theory. He's got like 3 million subscribers or whatever, and they were complaining about it. And in live time, someone was in the chat from Wikipedia. They went in and they were modifying it in real time, changing it to suit this new show. It was quite funny at the time. So yeah. Anyway,
that is very sad.
Well, I think it's finally becoming mainstream, and people are understanding now why many people like they've hidden it behind all these things for years, that it's all this activist stuff, and it was nothing ever to do with the activist. It was that if you take someone that is not a writer and get them to make a show, no matter what their skill set, it's like if you got a plumber. If you took a plumber and got them to write a show, they're going to write a crap show, and that's the problem. Yep. They've brought in these people that care more about messaging than writing, and it just shows. The shows are just not of the same quality, and they essentially have wanted to make changes to brands that they don't actually like, and because they've done that, they've ruined a lot of things. So yeah. Anyway, it'll get fixed. It just takes time, like anything. So, yeah. Yep. All right. We've also had a lot of news this week. In regards to SC, there's been more drama as well. You and I did talk briefly about the seats, so we can probably talk about that as well. I've just got to move some things around in the background, obviously. What about you, Algared? What have you been up to this week?
Teaching. School. For the students. This week in term, we always have what we call Heritage Day. Mm-hmm. That is a massive event for high school. So our students will have rehearsed their dances and routines for a term. So there'll be a concert, there'll be a fashion parade, or international dress, and there'll be international foods and. Yeah, so it's a massive.
So you stuffed yourself full of food. That's what I'm hearing. Stuffed yourself.
Yeah, I had some wonderful authentic rendang, and tried some nanka or jackfruit curry for the first time.
Yeah,
that was different. I wasn't expecting it to. Well, I didn't really know what to expect because I hadn't had jackfruit at that point. But having a fruit curry was not what I was expecting, but yeah, it was good, and yeah, lots of good stuff.
So real quick, we'll go over these shares. Straight off the bat, I think the thing you've really got to tell yourself is these are for joystick users, so already it falls into a niche. I've had
it's not a little cutaway so that guys can go to the loo or anything like that. Yeah, it's just for a joystick.
The price of these chairs is astronomically high. Me and Algared talked about this. In Australia, you can get a Herman Miller chair for the same price as these. That is insane. right? And they are nowhere, like you can see the bottom of them. They're just a normal plastic chair at the bottom. Even if that is the highest quality plastic known to man, they are plastic.
I'm sorry, that chair is not an airfare to Manchester and back.
No,
I'm sorry.
no, it's not. Yeah, they're really expensive for what they are. Up here is where all the quality's been sent. You can see that. But the thing you got to tell yourself is they're for joystick users. They are not a Star Citizen chair. They are a joystick user chair first, and they pay a premium because they've. If you know anything about how the chairs are made in China, they're all made out of the same. The back part of it is all made out of the same mold, and then they attach things to them to change them. So in the case of this one, it has a headrest attached, and then they put fabric across the entire thing, and then they obviously take the bottom part here and chop that little joystick part out, right? So they are essentially all the same chair. So essentially, you could get $100 chair and just cut the hole out of it and be happy with that, quite honestly. I cannot endorse these chairs at the price that they are. It is kind of ridiculous. But what you are paying for is because they've been customized so heavily. That's what you're paying for.
And the branding on the chairs does look great,
Yeah.
and the cut, the Miro chair's got the red and grey. It looks great. The
Yeah,
RSI
they do
chair's got the orange, and
yeah, they
and
definitely
the
do fit
they look
into.
great, but
They do fit into the Star Citizen aesthetic, but that's the part you got to look at. Is they're not a Star Citizen chair first? They're a joystick user's chair. And the other part of that is I've had many people tell me that these chairs cost more than the entire sim pit combined. You could get a fully fleet. This is the last thing you get, not the first thing you get, right? And obviously, again, being Star Citizen, a lot of the Star Citizen stuff is at a premium, right? You're paying a premium. This is a high-end product. This is almost like those the glasses and stuff they sold Algared, the really high. It's essentially a monocle and top hat. You know what I mean? Like it's not for everyone. And again, if you don't use it,
not even a monocle and top hat. I'm sorry.
I think a lot of people are getting disappointed because it's a chair. But you got to remember it's a chair for a joystick user. So once you take that, do I have a joystick out of it? I think that literally goes back to less than 20% of people. It really does. So you just got to, unfortunately, this is not something made for everyone. And I think they've kind of hit the mark a little bit on that because clearly there's some people that would have liked a regular Star Citizen chair.
Look, even if I know the way you were saying this is how the chairs are made, and we haven't bought one and we haven't looked one and we haven't ripped one apart. So your comments could possibly be wrong in terms of what they've done and how they've made the back. But even with that, even assuming that it's actually an individual molded back of a chair, it is still astronomically out of price and insanely. Because
well, the way I can tell I'm not is it's got the same standard handles, the same standard feet you see on every single chair, the way the mechanism works.
You can look at it and go, the dots, apply all the dots and join them and say, yeah, this looks the same. Yeah. But we can't guarantee, we can't say 100% without a doubt this is what's been done. And I just want to put that caveat in there. But even if it was a totally unique one-off chair in terms of design and everything else, at the price, if I can get a Herman Miller chair for half, for less than that price in Australia, that's insane.
Well, to put it in perspective, this ergonomic chair that I have, once I purchased this and delivered it to where I live, it would be more than 2.5 times the chair that I'm sitting in. That's how astronomically high these chairs are, and I think it's the price that really offends a lot of people. Because once you price people out, they're a bit offended that they can't purchase it.
Yeah, but it's like the very first thing I said to you when I looked at the price was that's the price of the airfare to Manchester. That was insane. That was our air ticket. One of those chairs is the airfare to go to CitizenCon. That just staggered me.
Do you speak Spanish at all? Someone on Twitch, first time chatter speaking Spanish. I have no idea what he's saying, but
no, I don't speak Spanish.
Sorry, but Concilio 3D, no one here speaks Spanish, bro. So I do not understand what you're saying. So unless you want to translate, I can't answer that one. Eshem pasta nasty too. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is a product this is probably one of the most smallest pitch products I think I've ever seen them do. And again, same with merch. Not everyone buys the merch either, but at the end of the day, this just kind of shows me what I've been saying about joysticks for a while. They're not for everyone. They are clearly not the major demographic when it comes to. But man, if you were going to get a chair from Monster Tech, wow, you've got one that you can now tailor to what your needs are. And again, it's why I've moved away from gaming chairs. I did it ages ago, and you only have to look at, well, the chair you're sitting in. I know Board Gamer prefers Herman Miller, but they are just not as good for your back as other chairs. So again, if you want a chair, let's be honest, most of the audience that follows this game is of an older demographic. Let's be honest, we've just got to admit where we are. Ergonomic is the way to go. Not gaming.
If you're playing a game, and I think like Star Citizen, where you're going to be, and I have to, it sounds horrible to say, but if you're going to be playing a game like Star Citizen where you're sitting in a chair for hours, you want a chair where you can actually modify the settings, and like my chair, Herman Miller, I can adjust the lumbar support, I can adjust the height, I can do multiple different things to actually improve the comfort of the chair and adjust it specifically for me. Gaming chairs just don't give you that option, and that's, I think, one of the big problems. It's that they're made to look comfortable. They might be comfortable for a short term, but over the long term, most chairs are not comfortable over the long term.
Yeah, so I'm reading some of the stuff off Twitch. Like someone, Broken AI was kind enough to translate what that guy said in Spanish, and I'm totally paraphrasing, but they're basically kind of repeating what I said, that gaming chairs are essentially rubbish. They cost too much. But again, what I said, guys, you got to remember, cutting holes out of them like this and attaching the headrest beforehand is stuff that they don't do with any other chair. And it's because of those two things, they had to pay someone to do that in the factory. That's what's cost the extra amount, because it's done out of order. It's customized. Even if they took the parts themselves and then build it somewhere else, it's the same problem.
It's as Monster Avi was saying, that it's they've got back cutaways for certain parts of a male anatomy.
No, that's for the joystick.
Yeah, but it's kind of that old idea, as I said the other day when I was talking to you the other day. It's a bit like bikinis, you pay more for less.
Oh yeah,
we're getting less chair. We're getting less chair because cutaway, but we're paying more.
So let's leave this behind now, because honestly, I don't think it, like, if you're getting mad about this because you wanted a chair, then maybe they'll hear you and they'll come back to it. But again, this is one of the reasons why we don't like Monster Tech, because they cost way more than they should, because they're a very high-end product. And it's the same thing with joysticks in general. Like, they don't ever really make these things to be cheaper. Like, I've never understood why. Like, I know you've got these ones on a 45-degree angle as an example, and you've got ones that's straight. Why don't they just make that part and you can change your joystick between the two? I've never quite understood, because you could just have a little bit extra cabling that tucks in the thing. But again, they don't like people to do it themselves, and so they charge heaps extra for shit like that. But yeah.
And ergonomics make people pay more.
Yeah.
Something that's
right. Yep. So this I thought was very interesting, Algared. The F8 Lightning's for sale again.
Yes, I did see that. Also, Aurelius Indomitus points out that if you're a dual joystick user, those chairs are crap, because we didn't quite say that, but he says...
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
I'm a dual stick user. I don't like joysticks in the middle. So in that case, those chairs are just totally useless to you. So yeah, the F8C, available.
Yeah. Sorry, it's replying to someone.
No, I know. And I know there's a lot of people who I saw and heard a lot of people were cheesed off that the F8C was on sale again. Do I care? No. Just suck it up. Just it's supporting the game. It's supporting development. Yeah, okay, so what? You thought you were buying something unique and special. Join the club.
I think the other way to look at it is, like we've been saying all year, it's unprecedented, the amount of money raising that you and I have been seeing. And so if you kind of look at it like that, it's fine, right?
Yep.
And I don't want to be mean to the people that have purchased it, but one of the reasons I didn't purchase it is once Squadron 42 comes out, whenever that is, right? And we've always been saying like the next 12 months type of thing. So let's just say this out this time next year, whenever it's out, right? I can then earn this for gaming for free just by finishing Squadron 42. So essentially, they're paying $300 to get it 12 months early. That is expensive.
Yeah.
So just keep telling yourself, I can earn this for free 12 months from now, and don't buy it.
Even if Squadron 42 opens the access to you to be able to buy it at your leisure, it still doesn't change the fact that it's expensive. And it doesn't matter that they put it out. In some ways, it would be great for them to sell everything all the time.
Yeah.
Because that reduces that FOMO. But reducing the FOMO, I think, also has the impact of reducing overall, could reduce overall sales. It could, the reverse side is it could actually result in lots more smaller sales. So yeah. But at the end of the day, it just supports the game.
Monster Avery is saying they actually do sell angled attachments. Okay, well that's great. I didn't actually know that. So it's again shows my ignorance to joysticks because I've never really been interested. So, but that is good to see that they do that. We've got a single question in our grid now. Well, a single question. It's gonna be the shortest stream ever.
No, well, the bot certainly hasn't picked them all up because I know there were at least a couple of questions that were asked early on that was saying, Algared, how are you?
Okay, well, then yeah, because until I turn the bot on, they don't start coming through, and that's generally because of YouTube, the way YouTube does the thing. That's why I try to get it on as soon as possible, but sometimes I forget. So if you've asked your question already, the last question I got was from Gore-Tex Fog. It's the only one that we've got to come in. So if you've asked a question when you first got here, feel free to re-ask, or me and Algared will go back through and have a look and see if we've got them. There wasn't one.
Subject. What's the subject today?
No, you've made me forget what I was going to talk about now. Congratulations. Yeah, you've completely thrown me now.
Oh, it happens to us both at times.
Shit. That's all right. You've made me forget. Fuck. Yeah. Oh, the something else we've got to talk about too is I went back and edited the video you and I did, and I added in a freelancer miss and pulse giveaway.
Notice that?
Yeah. No, it's not me getting old. He distracts me, and I start thinking about what he's talking about, and then I forget what I need to talk about. Happens to us both. Trust me.
Yeah.
We both have that issue.
Yeah, we both struggle with that.
Both get distracted by the other. It happens a lot because you're trying to hold something important that they've brought up in your head, but you're also trying to actively listen to what they're saying in case they say something else important, and you forget. It's the way males are very focused, right? Like if you're completely honest with yourself, men are really good at one thing and just targeting the shit out of that one thing, right? And that's why we forget the other thing. When women can juggle plates like you wouldn't believe, but they're not good at a singular task. So we are both sexes are built differently for different things. So yeah, that's just how it is.
I could argue that point theologically. I could argue that point logically. Sociologically, yeah, men and women are different.
Yes, I'm just talking on the thought process. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
I'm still talking on thought process, but we are mere males. We can focus and zero on and things. But yeah, we're hopeless at multitasking and trying to hold a conversation, hold our thoughts, and follow Twitch and follow YouTube and follow my question. But on something else. The first of the attachments have.
Oh, you got one. You got one. Cool.
I got one of those. Got the belt clip monitor.
Nice. I'll have to send you this one up then as well. So
I did find all my cold tubes.
Cool.
So.
And I'm taking you haven't had time to go into JB Hi-Fi. What Algared's showing off there is we are building matching camera rigs. To take to CitizenCon. And so I've spent way too much time trying to perfect this rig, and I've got it down to where I want it now. And and now Algared's picking up the pieces and benefiting from my labor, so to speak.
Yeah. Olet, thank you for that $2. Inforunners chair reviews. Laugh at LOL.
I don't think we'd be good at doing a review for that chair specifically because we don't use joysticks.
Yeah. I think for someone, you really need someone who's a joystick user and a middle joystick user to give a review on that chair.
Yeah.
But I think
the person I would reach out to if I was them would be like Zero State. He uses sticks all the time. He does all the PvP stuff.
Maybe not even him. If he uses dual joysticks, that chair's useless for him.
And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of them do. I don't know about him specifically, but for example, I know Veridity, she uses 2 sticks. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Pete, are you still around? Pete uses 2 sticks. Yeah, so I would almost argue the 2 sticks is the commonplace. So that's interesting. So, because then you don't need a hole in the middle, do you? So it makes that whole chair, Pete, honestly.
Purple.
Well, Pete's there in Twitch chat. Let's ask him. Pete, with 2 joysticks, you wouldn't need the hole in the middle, would you? So again, if you're a high-end joystick user, you're paying extra for a chair where you're not going to use it because of the hole in the middle. Are we wrong in that, Pete, or is that not how that works? Okay, Vertigo only uses 1. All right, so there are people that only use 1, but what I'm saying is, like, I think Algared's hit on a point here where most of the if you're a high-end joystick user, that's who this is for. If it's got a hole in the middle, that...
So Vertigo uses 1 as well, Chasm's saying.
But he can't afford the chair. That's the whole point. Like, it's too expensive. Like, again, like I know we make this argument about how expensive Star Citizenships are, but I can use a Star Citizenship for years. Is this chair... Now, I'm going to tell you now, it won't. Is this chair going to outlast the usage of some of those ships? And I would argue no. Again, with the how long are the warranties on these chairs? Are they lifetime? Are they Herman Miller level where they're 25 years? I highly doubt it.
Are they Rode microphone level where it's 10 years? No. You know, well, I don't know. But...
All right. So Pete said, I need a new chair. I honestly can't justify it. My sticks are on either side, and where armrest would be, I've decided a barber's chair is going to be ideal. I can picture Pete sitting in a barber's chair. It's strong, contrast, comfortable, modified, and half the price. Yeah, exactly. And I even said to Algared, if I wanted one like this, I would buy one of those cheap chairs, because you see them regularly here in Australia where they're like $100 or whatever. Buy one of those and just cut that part out and then use duct tape or whatever to seal the hole, and you'd be just as good. And again, it's 15... Well, by the time you get it delivered, it's 20 times cheaper than this chair.
Oh, look, the YouTube chat is going off there saying it's basically keep the boys cool. Gentlemen, we all know what we're talking about there.
Yeah.
Or it's for the the ability to not have to go to the loo. So
the thing that I really want to take away from this is it is an expensive product that is not for everyone. I'm starting to feel now, just from listening to chat, it's not the fact that the chairs are too expensive. How do I word this? That's not the right way to word it. The chairs are not very good quality for the price. Is that what I'm hearing? Like, is that like, just give me a yes or no in chat, because that's what I feel what it is. It's like these chairs are way overpriced and they're not very good quality. That's what I'm hearing, right? And unless I'm mistaken, I agree with that 100%.
I think you need to slightly modify what you're saying in terms of quality, because the quality could be good, but what you're saying is the...
Well, let me, Algared, let me rephrase, right? For $2,000, it has plastic parts on it, right? That's not good quality. This part here might be good quality, but this is shit. For $2,000, this should be metal. Herman Miller has metal parts on it for that price.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is not necessarily the quality per se as well, but the versatility, the fact that the chair doesn't meet the requirements of most people. So,
well, also it's bad because it's just a regular gaming chair. They're not even good for your back. Yeah. So
all of the above.
So it's all of the above. So you're paying an exorbitant price to get a niche product that's more expensive because it's that niche product. It also doesn't. It's a combination of things. Okay, cool. But again, I think we can agree. They didn't read the room on this, I think.
Yeah. Town Scott says at that price they should be Origin. Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Agreed. They've even missed the marketing angle on those chairs for the price.
Well, again, I can understand RSI and Anvil, but why Mirai? Like, I probably would have picked Aegis personally, but yeah. I love that. That's awesome. Give that a like on YouTube. That's freaking awesome. I gotta see if I can. Can you? There used to be a way to bring these up on screen. I don't know if I can do it anymore. No,
But
you
yeah,
can't.
that is a point of.
That's funny as hell. So Heath Miller says, "I'm planning to buy a sofa and earn down." I love that. That's so good.
That is how Inforunners. Yeah.
Yes, that's a very Inforunners burn. I love that. Yes.
Yep.
All right, so we'll leave these chairs behind because, again, I think the comments that you'd be wanting to put towards CIG is not that I hate this, all because all I read was people are mad, but you can understand why I think they're valid in that madness, and it's not well. You don't want to come when you're giving your critique, right? You don't want to say I'm mad. You want to say these chairs are not just expensive, but they're expensive because they're bad quality. I think that's because people are hearing expensive and going, "Oh, you're just pissed because you can't afford them," and that's what I assumed going into this conversation. But now I've heard like people say things. It's not because they're expensive. It's because they're expensive and shit.
Oh, expensive and
No, they're shit. That is the short version. Do not try to paraphrase and detail this. They're shit. That's it.
I just think that they don't meet the requirements of most people.
Yeah,
that's why they're crap. You know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And says we're not mad. We're just disappointed. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. That kind of covers it. All right,
so
then.
Question 1
Go for
from Gore-Tex Fog says, what sets Aegis and Anvil apart as manufacturers? What design characteristics make their ships different from each other?
I think that's a question for you more than it is for me. It's a lore-based question.
It basically is a lore-based question. Now, I'm going on my memory. Both are manufacturers of military-based ships. They're fighters or that. The key one, and I always get the companies mixed up. Let's see, Aegis is the one who makes...
They're like a Reclaimer, the Idris, Javelin.
Yeah. So just making sure I got the brand right. They were very heavily involved with the Meza regime. So they get tarred and feathered with being linked to the Mezas. They were the manufacturers of the ships that were used to put down the masses. One celebrated case is where the Retaliator was sent in to put down a rebellion, and the squadron refused. And so, it's that type of thing. These ships were the symbol of terror. And so when the new regime, when the Mezas were kind of put down, they lost a lot of favour. The government would stopped giving them contracts just because they wanted to prove that we're different. Yeah. Anvil are the new kids on the block. So they started to get the military supply, the military contracts. So they've got the fighters. Aegis still have the large contracts. And in fact, when Aegis lost the military contracts, they almost went broke. And in the law, what they stumbled on was just they had all this excess stock and they just started selling it off to the civilian market, and they had a resurgence. But that's generally the key thing. They're both military quality. They've both done the military quality, but pushing for the military quality. Aegis is the old guard, so they've got a lot more of the older ships, and Anvil are the new. And yeah, one's tarred with being linked to the Mezas more closely than others. And every old company was linked to the Mezas in some way. RSI was linked to them. They just managed to not be as heavily linked and keep their noses clean. But you go in and you'd find every company has a closet, stuff in their closets from the Mezas they want to keep hidden if they can.
I think I'll just add to that ever so slightly. I think there's definitely a stealth visual style with a lot of the Aegis combat stuff. And I would say that there's an interesting style approach with Anvil where they get that old school feel, the Gladiator, and the older stuff like the Hurricane and stuff like that. But then they have, because that comes from Jace Aerospace, because they started out as a much older company, and then they got brought out by Anvil Aerospace, so they got all their old plans. So that's where all the old ships come from. But then you've also got all these newer Anvil ones like the F8, the Arrow, and the Hornet. That are kind. Well, actually, I think the Hornet's an older one too. But you get my point, right? They have these two unique styles, and they almost cross over Aegis that's in the middle. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and Anvil in that, with the old ships that they were even used in the Meza regime. It's not even
accurate.
one particular. It's just the fact that Aegis had they're the guys with the bad rep because they had the big ships and they were the ships that were used to put down rebellions and other stuff and push that.
They were used to send a message by the sounds of things.
Yeah, they were the ships of oppression, and so they got tarred.
Right, so
that's mainly the big difference, I think.
All right, so we've got about 10 questions. So if you can get some more in, that would be appreciated because stream lives or dies on questions.
Yeah, otherwise we go off onto tangents and talk about whatever we want.
Yes. I think the next one, there isn't really a subject for today. There never really ever is. So Broken Eyes just said what today's subject matter to start asking questions first. You ask us whatever you like. There is no subject. There never ever is. We'll talk a little bit about what happened during the week, and that's about it. I think the other thing that we could probably talk about a little bit, Algared, that I've remembered now, took a while, is the Eva Cardi stuff and the test builds. They've been rather interesting. We talked about it on last weekend's show, how time matters, and it's going to come in and people are going to hate it because it is a monumental change. But I think the other takeaway, now I've had more time to think about it, is this is the worst it's ever going to be. But you can tell with, like, when I was talking about the SCU stuff, like it's going to come down, like bigger containers are going to be easy to use and stuff like that. And it's often the case. We've seen it before now with a couple of different implementations where things come in and they're worse, but then as they add new systems in, they get better and better. So again, we always get that sky is falling mentality, and then people calm down as they learn what's happening. So I'm trying to beat that to the punch. Just remember, when cargo comes in, it's going to suck because it's going to be this. It's going to feel like I've got this big system, but everything's slowed down. But it's going to speed up again as they add new systems in. But it'll never ever be as fast as it is right now, because now it's instant. You just go bang bang and it's on there. Now you've got to manually load it all on there, or AI's got to bring it across. But man, there's no other game that does that, and it's just going to feel so visceral because of it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things Chris has always wanted in his game, for him to feel like it matters, that everything matters. When you click a switch, you see the hand go across. Everything was always there to make you feel you were in the cockpit of a fighter. You were doing stuff, and so that works. I finally got into the hangar. It finally didn't crash, and I have a very large hangar, and there's a lot of assets that used to repeat it as you go from end to end. It's kind of half and then repeated. I did try to answer people's questions. Did I try decorating the hangar? Yes, I did. And you can't, because all the objects, a lot of the old objects require the hooks, and there are no hooks in the hangar, so you can't actually put stuff down.
I'll tell you something I also noticed, because I got out of the default hangar and I went other places, and I started to notice they've been doing some work in the background they haven't told us about, Algared. So I went off to one of the stations, and all of a sudden, you know how I had an AeroView hangar at most of the places, like on the ground? I went up to one of the stations, I think it was at Everest, and it was Safeland.
Yeah. So you also went to an outpost.
And it also tailored the ship to the size of the ship I was landing.
Yeah, and you also went to an outpost and you found cargo hangars just at a regular outpost.
Well, it wasn't a hangar. What it was there was
cargo lift.
Yeah, there was a car, and I can't show you, right? Because you guys are not in Eva Cardi. We're not allowed to show, but we can talk about it. But essentially, there was like a tower on the side of one of the pads that you land at that was essentially the cargo lift that was from your hangar, and you can tell that is going to be used for loading and offloading. So I don't know if that's tier 0 implementation or they're eventually going to change them so they're all hangars at outposts. But yeah, it just felt a bit ad hoc because it's just this square box essentially attached to the side of a pad. It felt really weird. I'm going to be honest, it feels like it's a placeholder. It really does.
And the other thing I noticed in the hangar, which is going to drive people nuts, was the time it took for the lift to bring up my ship.
Well, I think
because, as you pointed out the other week, it starts with the lift closed.
Yeah.
And then it opens up. Then it goes down and opens up, goes down, closes, then opens up, and the ship comes up. So it almost, why can't it start with the lift down and the roof closed, and then just bring up the ship when you're ready?
True.
but that there, as you've said, and as we've
Mm,
said, it is tier 0. It is the first implementation of this stuff,
yeah.
and as time goes on, it will be tweaked and polished and
Well, just in what you said there, you can tell it needs to start down and come up and
Mm.
stuff like that. And I had other little weird things like I came into somewhere and the elevator decided to go down and close the cargo doors, which it shouldn't have done that. It's doing things out of order, so there's still
yeah,
bugs there and stuff like that to be
yeah,
fixed out. But it is running really well. Like you can tell that there's definitely server meshing type things in the background because the frame rate's improving and stuff like that as well. So there are benefits to it as well. But again, those of you that have been here for more than 6 months knows we all have teething issues with this game. But I'm always looking for positive things like steps forward and
yeah.
stuff like that. And it's definitely probably one of the biggest changes that people are going to have to get used to that I've seen in any
Oh,
game. Like
I
from a
think it's
game,
the
from a
biggest change ever.
yeah, from a gameplay perspective, it is one of the biggest for sure. But also there are performance gains there as well,
Yeah.
and I like to use the word visceral because it is just it feels more visceral, and it actually feels like when you just walk in and your ship's just sitting there. Now that it comes up in a lift and that like that, it feels more. There's something about it. It just feels more sci-fi and more realistic
Yeah,
and more
I'm getting my
presented
ship.
and yeah.
And I like the idea of a lift. It gives you that idea, the sense of moving parts.
Mm,
That your ship is coming out of storage. So I like that. But I think, as we've kind of hinted, there are points where it will be polished. It'll get tweaked. Things will speed up. But that's just part of game development. You go 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 2 steps back and 1 step forward,
mm.
and you keep polishing and reiterating, and it's just the nature of game development. Sometimes you think X, and it ends up being Y.
Yep.
So
All right, next question. JCH says, sorry, if it's been asked, do you think the F7A Mark II will be an upgrade they allow people to purchase if they miss the event? This one-time exclusive on the F7A was clearly not done the one time. Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I don't know. Because the one thing that Algared will agree with me is the only thing that CIG is consistent at is being inconsistent, and I've said that too many times to count.
even it's so bad that the room where Disco does the show is called The Only Constant. And even that has changed its look occasionally.
Yeah.
So the only constant is that
There's change.
there's change.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of game development. Just things, you plan you plan what you think the best case scenario is, and it changes.
Yeah.
Do I think the F7A Mark II will be made available again? I would hope so.
I also think you could also look at it much like how we looked at the Hornet before. Sorry, the F8 before. It doesn't matter because once Squadron's out, you can earn it in Squadron, and that'll give it to you access to
Yep.
it in game. So just do it that way. And that's going to be common with almost all the ships. Now we don't know exactly which ships are in the lineup for Squadron 42, and I'm just going to chuck one out there, and it's probably not in there, so don't kill the messenger. But say the Arrow was in there, it would give you access to the Arrow. Essentially, playing Squadron 42 is like rep grinding the UEE. That's how you got to look at it. And so it'll give you access to those UEE ships. And it was really originally said way back in the day, and Algared will back me up on this, is that you could step out of the campaign and wherever you were up to, you could just stop playing it if you wanted to. They're the ships that they would give you access to. Or you could not play it at all and not get any access to the UEE stuff.
Yep, 100%. They talked about you could where you step out of a campaign and play the PU, that would where you're up to would kind of indicate what benefits or perks you got from your UEE service. So it's a bit like getting your valor. It's if you complete the campaign, you get full valor. If you only do half a campaign, then you don't get all the value. It's just with that type of idea. The perks of being a veteran is what you get when you complete the campaign, and what perks you get depend on where you are in the campaign. So, yeah, I think with the F7A Mark II upgrade, whenever the F7A Mark II is available in the shop, you will be able to upgrade any ship. You'll be able to just use the normal upgrade process to upgrade to that.
Yep.
So I don't think you'll ever have a problem upgrading the ship. You may not get any specials or stuff, but yeah, I fully expect the F7A Mark II to be upgradable too. So from a Mark I, if you've got a Mark I, you can upgrade it just using the normal system to whatever you want.
That's not correct, because you have to have done the event to actually get that upgrade for free. But they've never said that they weren't going to give the upgrade eventually to people to buy. They never said that they would or wouldn't. So yeah.
I expect the F7A, because the F7A Mark I is not being serviced, I expect when the F7A Mark II is available in the shop, you'll be able to use the normal upgrade process.
Yep.
And it just a term, the key thing that really stops ships being available for upgrade at the moment is if they're not available in the shop. If they're not available in the shop, you can't upgrade. That tends to be the way it goes. So, yeah, that's my expectation.
Right.
The F8C is available again. I think just confirms that that'll be the case.
Yep. Mark Zoll TV says, question, do you will give away Star Citizen gaming chairs? No.
No.
I think for all the reasons we talked about before, they're too expensive. They're, we'll just leave it at that.
In terms of pricing, that would be our earnings for the year, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, I'd rather give you a better chair, for less. Let's be honest.
We could do one chair or 10 ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Monster Avery says, have you been trying the Evo tests? Haven't been overly pleased with the inventory machines. Seems like it's just extra steps to end up at the same place. Yes, but it was always kind of planned that way. And I think the other part, as Algared and I went across, is this is the worst implementation of it you'll ever see, because it's tier 0. It's very obvious it's tier 0, because you can tell there are things that are out of order and buggy and stuff like that, as we mentioned just before.
I didn't mind the inventory closets. It solves that problem of you are carrying everything on your person all the time, and that's one thing they wanted to stop. And what you're carrying when you're in your home base, that's where you get access to every single item in your inventory, because that's where everything is. The second you go to an outpost, or like I started in Lawville, second I go to Area 18, my inventory closets couldn't give me access to everything that I own. They'll only give me access to the things I own at Area 18. So the inventory closets are good, and it stops that idea of having a net bag of holding. And that's something that CIG never wanted us to have. That's why they've been working on the loot system and the way we change things and how much carrying we can do. It's one of those, it makes it visceral. It makes it feel real. And yeah, if you're someone who doesn't like that, I'm sorry. It will get annoying for everyone, including those who do like it. But I think it's a good thing.
I think I haven't heard many people talking about the inventory stuff either, too, because you can't just press I anymore and chuck all your stuff on. You've essentially got to go up to one of these terminals, drag it out, and the interface is not as good as the old one. It needs work.
Yep.
And you got to drag your stuff across, click a button that puts it into a drawer that essentially then opens the inventory system.
Yeah.
And you put it on.
Yeah. The hard thing I found is putting stuff back. I'm not sure if it's just automatic or I couldn't work out how to do that.
You just click the open drawer button and then take it from you and put it into the box and then
put it back. Yeah.
It's the inverse of what you just did, essentially.
Yeah. So it is a bit clunky, but I think as time goes on, we'll get used to it. So yeah.
Okay, I don't know what this is, but Pissball Pete wanted to show this to someone, so he found a picture of the box. Okay, yeah, that is the box that I saw. Yeah,
it's a giant cargo box. Yeah,
yeah.
So it really does look like a giant.
But yeah, you can make out the door there as well. But yeah, so that's it there.
So thank you, Pissball.
Yep. But yeah, I have an image of it, but I can't show it because it's from Evo. So. Yeah. Anyway. I've remembered Finally, I've remembered something else that we were meant to go over.
Yep.
Since Algared distracted me. Let's go back to this. Because we did say we were going to go over this. No, don't let me speak, because otherwise I'm going to forget again. Is the CCUs.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Right.
So you forgot that are for CCUs.
Yes. Right. So we didn't do a buyer's guide because we wasn't sure how good these were, but the Hercules wasn't. The A2 wasn't the best. There were some interesting ones in there. Ion's been done before. The Corsair's been done before. The Steel hadn't been done in a really long time, but you still had the Saber and Raven there. But you can start to see there are some there that connect. The Vulture wasn't there, but it's now there. So there's a couple in there that you could probably connect if you're a new person, but there's nothing really new for the older people, and there's obviously nothing at the low end. So essentially, you're having to spend, up to $120 before you're starting to get some savings. But the Nova hasn't been there for a little bit, so there are some good ones there. Is there
It would be a matter of looking at those CCUs and seeing how they fit into your chain.
Yeah.
And if it's a CCU that fits into your chain and helps you position yourself to move on, then it's a good option. But
So I think the takeaway is, though, is if you're doing CCUs, that this is a long process, and you like the $95 Carrack was done over 2 years, right? It's exactly the same thing. You're just trying to find ones that slot into where you are. You don't want that instant gratification as in one sale and you buy them all and apply. You just want to leave them sitting there in chain links as long as you possibly can, and just keep adding and adding and adding, and bring that price way down. And I will say that record for the Carrack is definitely going to be broken, because I can break it on my own. And I can tell you now, there are other people, is when that Polaris comes out and the price goes up, it'll be the first time that a ship is able to beat the Carrack. And so that gap record will be broken. I didn't think it was ever going to be broken, but my Carrack, my Polaris alone at the moment is at 20%. Right? So it's only going to drop by 3%. It's going up by $100. That's more than 3%. So it's definitely going to be broken. And I guarantee there are people that are going to beat me as well. So, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting time to see that you can get a Polaris for less than 17% is kind of bonkers, to be honest with you.
So going to CitizenCon, Cutlass Steel says, "What's the reasoning behind building matching camera rigs?"
Just makes it easier, because then if I need to borrow something or swap something, or Algared picks up my rig, it's exactly the same as his rig and stuff like that. So it all just matches, and we don't have to relearn stuff. Because when you're using cameras, like you need to learn how to use them, right? And we've never used them before, so we're going to get some practice in. I'm going to try and do a stream on the move before we go. So I might go out to the where I live, there's a place called the Cataract Gorge. It's very scenic, very beautiful. So one of my ideas is I'm going to do one of these streams with you guys, but I'm going to walk around the gorge, and I'm going to show you kind of like where I live and stuff like that, as a test.
It helps us troubleshoot any issues that pop up. It helps us swap over parts if we need to. It also enables us to be at different locations and do different things. So
we've already learned why no one has done this before, haven't we?
Yeah,
it's the cost. It is difficult, and it costs more than we thought it was going to cost. So
we thought, no worries, it'll be easy to do it. No, it's not.
Essentially, it's why no one's done it, because most of the people that do streaming, they turn to streaming because they don't have money or whatever, and you got to remember, everyone that's doing streaming, most of the people are living off that. So most of the money you earn goes straight into living expenses. And so therefore you don't, where Algared and I don't live off it, right?
It's just fun.
Yeah, so it's just for fun for us. So we were happy to put some money back into this to try and do something that no one has done before. And I don't know, I put a poll out there if you want, but I just thought it'd be interesting to do a CitizenCon where we take you with us into CitizenCon. Nobody's done it from the floor. I think the only person I've ever seen do it was Burks did it on a phone for a little bit, and people quickly realized it was like way back at the back of the stage, so it was a waste of time, and so they went and watched the regular one anyway. And so for us, we're not going to show it during the panels. We're just going to show between the panels.
And even if we could show it during the panels, it's something we have no intention of doing because we've always hated the idea of doing a stream and then talking over presenters. It's just nuts.
Yep.
So we will, even when we do present normally, we'll cut to the stream, we'll watch the stream.
Yeah.
And then when it's finished, we'll do our conversation or talk or discuss the things.
And we didn't want to do what most people do, is where they just stream on a phone. We wanted to take proper cameras and do it properly. So hopefully we're doing it at a little bit higher level than most. So yeah. Alan, I'm busy.
Yeah, the understanding we've got so far in terms of Patrick's question, Patrick S, they said, will they let you do that? Many conferences require approval for filming. For what we want to do and how we want to do things, my understanding is yes.
And if we can't, then
if we can't, we can't film at certain areas, then we won't film in those areas.
Again, we're not going to be filming inside the panels. We're only filming outside, so there shouldn't be a problem. But yeah.
But it's not as if we haven't been touching base with some people in CIG. You know, we've talked about the what connection available and what streaming options there are in terms of internet access.
Yep.
And it's just going to be using whatever is available at the centre, because that's what CIG are using as well. You know, it's nothing beyond that.
Actually, it looks like we're going to be using cellular or mobile, from what I've seen. So, and there's 5G and 4G in Manchester. So we've had to do research into a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, that's the last little loophole, is the connection. But we've looked into all that. So yeah, it should be fine if we can get it all working.
And as we've been looking at the different rigs, you know, X has gone through several times, several iterations, and that looks good. And he said, hey, you can get this, and I said, yeah, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Once you've finalised the rig, let me know. And the current iteration is basically, it does everything that we wanted, but it's now going, but this is now also lighter. So it's actually, we've gone build up to what we want, and then okay, how can we make it lighter? And that's where we've got to. So, but yeah. So.
All right, next question. Silas Catnap says, what's the reason behind building... Oh, that was the one I already did. Mark Jones says, server performance. The Aussie server in the last patch is terrible. Can you recommend any tips to improve? E.g., can you server switch while being hosted in Australia? Yeah, we can. We can go to other servers. I don't know what it is, but the Australian server seems to be updated last a lot. And you can clearly tell that it's not a priority for them, because they'll do, say the Eva Cardi stuff as an example, or the PU, they'll have a US server, an EU server, but there's no Australian server, right? So that tells me that there probably is only a singular live Australian server, and that's it. There is no test server, because there's not enough of a population to support it, so that's why they don't do it.
Australia may have been, and may still be, you know, per capita, the highest back as a Star Citizen in terms of funding per capita, but in terms of population, we're minuscule. You know,
it's probably the most expensive server that they run too, which is we should be lucky that we've got it at all.
Oh, we are lucky we've got an Australian server. Usually, you know, most games you play on a Singapore server or a
So if the performance goes to shit on that server, it probably doesn't get fixed for a while, because they'd need to restart it. And we all know that you have to jump around sometimes when one of the servers goes shit to get to a different one. And that's probably what's wrong. There's probably only one Australian server, and if it goes to shit, well, tough luck.
And then the other downside is the fact that usually when Australians are on and things go to shit, that's when most other people in the world are sleeping.
Yeah.
And so it won't get fixed until they get online and can then reboot or do whatever. So, yeah, what can we do to fix it? I think you can swap servers. Just be an Aussie and just play. It doesn't answer the question, but yeah, it's all you can really do. Red Samurai.
Yep.
How are you two and your health? Second question. What do you think is still needed to get passenger transport in the game? Okay, first question. X, how are you? How's your health going?
Just the cough as usual, but other than that, I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, I've still got my chest issues. My chest is still it hurts. I'm actually slightly uncomfortable, believe it or not. I'm getting used to just living with discomfort. I don't like the new pain. I don't like the new discomfort, but
sadly the new normal.
It's sadly the new normal, and the doctors say this is not a good new normal. It's not what we want, but at the moment that's what I've got. So yeah, it does mean I do run out of steam quickly. I do. If I go walking, I go, oh man, I can't cope with this. It sucks. Yeah, but I'm alive. I'm kicking. God is gracious. What more can I say? Yeah. Second question: what do you think is needed to get passenger transport in the game?
Passenger transport in the game. Oh, that's an AI question. That one.
Yeah, I think you need the AI. You need AI able to want to be multiple passage. I think we need AI able to take players to different locations. So that type, and open up that ability to transport. I think you need different locations, like to transport passengers between Hurston and ArcCorp. I don't think it really is essential. But once we get, Pyro and Nyx and Odin and the other systems, then I think having AI transportation for players, so we go to there, we log off, we come back and we're in the location, or we sit and travel on the ship and walk around the ship that's taking us to where we're going and do whatever. I don't think that'll come in until those locations are in. AI, transporting AI, well, it just means we've got to get the AI working and in enough numbers so that don't, and also not have them crash the system. So yeah, there's several factors, I think. Any further thoughts on?
No, it really is just AI at the end of the day.
Daniel has a question. Does CIG plan to allow players to hire NPCs to cruise ships? Yes. How does CIG classify small, large jump points compared to ship sizes? We have no idea. I didn't see capital jump points unless that's for large. That is for large. So they originally had 3 sizes of jump points: small, medium, large. The best example of or the best idea or thought process someone came up with, I think it may have been Hayes, was that the jump point sizes referred to the stability of a jump point rather than the actual size of ships. But we don't really know. Originally, it was just 3 sides of the jump point, and we had things like the Freelancer was the largest ship that could go for a small jump point. And, in the early days, and that's really all we knew. And we know that when you look at the map, there are 3, the size of the jump point indicate how quick you can go to certain places. So small jump points would tend to be faster or enable you to do stuff, where if it's you've only got large jump points to an area, you can only take those jump points. It changes how you get to a location or how you get to a system. But what the sizes mean and how they classify it, we have no idea.
Who was it saying? Ortlet was saying, lazy fat ass archetype cat. Yes, very much so. He's a very, very lazy fat ass cat. She'll lay around all day and do nothing. But he's very, very, very cuddly. And very,
you realise you probably need to make that bigger, because the cat has now become the key focus of the stream.
I could try, but it'll go to shit. Hang on, let me try.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being a bit facetious.
Hang on. I will try.
Broken AI says, now we've got chairs, what's next?
No clue.
I actually think, believe it or not, computer cases would have been much better than chairs. They'd have had a bigger market.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. Because the people they did the turn it back too far. Hold on. It's got to go in. There. No. It's gonna go lower.
Yep, that's good.
No, where is it?
Here's a Drake cap. How dare you? No cat would ever be found on a Drake ship. Cats like luxury. I like to be able to lounge around.
No.
So yeah, I think that, you know, computer cases would be, and it would be, or even the lighting that goes in computer cases, and have it tailored to the manufacturers. I'm not sure what a Drake case would look like. Almost like a frame, just a frame. It hangs stuff on with no size, no nothing. It just.
So let me open Twitter because a couple of people did get cases. I opened the wrong one. Twitch, not Twitter. I will have to find them on the fly. So bear with me. And it's hard to do things with one hand.
Yep.
Cat. But Tyler got one. I know Tyler got one, and Zero Stay got one. So Tyler got this from this one. So he got this. This is from CLX Gaming. He got that delivered to him. So he's got a custom case. And if I open that as a separate post, we can keep that one. And then Zero State got one. What was the other one that I saw? Zero State.
Yes, but they're not really Star Citizen cases per se.
Yeah, but no, they're not Star Citizen branded, but there it is. So yeah, he got one as well.
Yep.
Oh, that's got sound. So that's an actual video, that one. But yeah, I thought it was kind of cool that they got custom cases and stuff. But that's an American company, so I didn't see anyone outside the United States get one, as an example.
Yep.
So yeah.
But yeah, and they look nice. But I was talking, you know, a Drake case or an Origin case. Like, as you point out, I've probably got the most Origin case I've ever had at present.
Yeah.
And I've got to admit, it is. I know you dragged me kicking and screaming to get the one with the wooden front and all the rest of it. And it just happens that the case is ideal for what I've got. But I've never acquired a white case before, but this one is growing on me. So
yeah,
it's the Origin curse. I think it grows on you. Beware.
You might be pleased to know that the same manufacturer that made that case for you, they made themselves customized Raspberry Pi cases, and people got photos of them, and there are massive now high demands for them to make a high-end Raspberry Pi case. But it's so small that it's only got 3. So, you know, the same piece of wood that you've got, it's only 3 of those wide. It's so tiny. Yeah, it's like this
that
big.
Wide.
Yeah.
That wide.
Yeah,
that wide.
Yeah, it's really, really tiny. All right, cat's gone. All right, I can turn off the camera now. She got sick of me moving. Wanted to sleep.
So, what do you think after chairs?
Yeah, again, there's so many they could go into that would be popular. I just don't know. I really don't. Like to me, t-shirts is the one that I think they've always missed the mark on. We asked them for that Polaris shirt. They gave us that Polaris shirt. That Polaris shirt is still the most popular shirt they've ever done. Right?
And then they tried to build on with other shirts, and they just missed it. It just it just didn't have the same feel.
Yeah. And they've just never ever been able to kind of capture it the same way. I just don't think merch is their priority. And I think after the game comes out, maybe it'll change a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know.
Look, I tend to think some of the times when they're doing merch, they're really just testing the waters and seeing what goes. And yeah, so it is all of those types of things, seeing, you know, trying to work out what the fans want, what the backers want.
Yeah.
And not just go by what the backers say they want.
Yes.
the number of backers will say, yeah, I'll get that, and then they do it, and then it just sits there. No, you don't want that. You actually want to find what they really want, and I get that's why sometimes they put things out and they say, okay, this is a pre-order, because they don't want to end up ordering and having a warehouse full of stock that doesn't move.
Well, by the same token, like you look at the stuff that sells out, like the keychains and stuff like that. I find it really surprising that after all this time they haven't kind of keyed on to what people sell really, really well. Like, and they do test the water. Like they brought out those really ugly jumpers one year, and it took them like 4 years to sell them all. That again, they bring out these. And I don't know. Let me put it this way: when you live in a particular part of the world, no matter where it is, it's very hard to think outside of where you live, right? Because that is what you know. So to you, that is the normal. But to put yourself in other people's shoes is really difficult. But this company has literally Frankfurt, so it's got German, English, and United States offices and stuff like that. So again, the only places they're kind of missing is like the Asian area and the Australian area, or the Oceania. I think Oceania would almost cover the whole part of it, to be honest with you, right? And that's not a great part of the world, as in the mass of it. They cover the mass of the world, right, is what I'm trying to say. So again, why don't they just talk to people within their own company and get feedback from internally? Like put out like an internal survey and say, would this miss the mark if we did fuzzy winter jumpers? Because again, I think they would have got a lot of feedback, say, from the European area that would have said, yeah, these are probably not the best.
I think, and the jumpers, they're not too bad. They're not really, they're not the best in terms of quality. They're okay.
It's a bit like the chairs. It's going to hit some people and not hit others.
Well, we got the one jumper. I got the one jumper because we were going to do the Christmas stream one year, or mid, Christmas in July type stuff.
You should go put it on now, where it's nice and
And well, it's got green in it, and so we did actually try it, and it kind of.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
Which is why we never did it. I went the greeny blue one rather than the purple one. But in Australia, and I'm pretty certain in most places, the ugly Christmas sweater is not something that we do. No. It's just like for us, it's if you do ugly Christmas sweaters at Christmas, you're an idiot. It's in there going, I'm dying. It's like
well, it's the opposite for us. So for us, it would just be something that we wear as a jumper in the middle of July.
Winter, so.
Well, it's July for us. So like now, I was saying earlier to Algared, it's so cold here. I've lived in this house for 16 years. Yesterday, for the first time ever, the pipes actually froze. And we didn't have water for like 8 hours, and I was making a cup of tea just before we started, and I was saying to him it was kind of like pulsing, so it told me that partially the line had been frozen again. And I checked the temperature today, and it was -3. So yeah, and yesterday they had people on the radio. My mum was telling me that people like tradesmen on the radio saying this is the coldest winter singular day they've ever, like, I've been doing this for 30 years type of thing, and this is the singular coldest day I've ever experienced. So yeah, we're getting some weird weather down here, that's for sure.
Yep. So on YouTube, chat Bowler 99999 says the plush is probably the best thing they've sold, and they have, like you think the Microtech plushie.
I'm not biased at all.
No.
I've got them both. So yeah. Now I got to put them back. Oh yeah.
Got to stretch and grab them because I've got my Finley and I've got my
invisible Pico, yeah.
Invisible Pico. And my Finley. Yeah. I'd love to see an Origin Copian, maybe, or so yeah, I'd love to see more of those. But yeah, plushies do sell, and I think I do have an Origin mug, or haven't they made them yet? I've certainly got most of the mugs. All
right.
But yeah.
So I just opened my email because someone said there's a cool sneak peek in the email. So I'm just going to pop it up and we'll go see what it is. Ready my armor. Okay, hang on. Let's look at this. I don't get why it's so cool. It's not like a cool suit. It's different, but isn't that just a different version of the military one we already have? It looks like a email. Stop.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm going, oh yeah, it's just a suit.
Yeah. But the line was oh god, I closed it now because it was making all that noise. But the line was basically let me find it again. It said ready my armor. So or what I'm really taking from this, now you correct me if you think I'm wrong, it's not the picture itself, it's the fact that it's hand drawn. So that tells me they're doing a bunch of new armor concepts. Is that what you're saying? Like I'm not. That's what I'm taking from this.
Yeah, I'd be saying they're looking at concepting new gear. So that would, and if you're concepting new gear, that tends to say you're concepting it for a region.
Mm.
So the fact that it's got the scarf is probably picking up a region they're looking at doing.
That'd be really cool if they start to add little accessory things in. So like you can put scarves over the top of your armor. You could you know the desert guy, and he's kind of got like that sort of skirt, but it's like he's got that almost like a loincloth, but it's off to one side.
Yep.
So you can add little accessories and stuff like that. So like half capes and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, it'd be good to, and that type of thing is what will really make the game feel alive. The fact that I can custom, not only can I choose I want this breastplate and these arm pieces and this helmet, but I can also go, and I'm going to attach the cape and I'm going to attach this belt and I'm going to attach the cloth or the bandanas or whatever. And
Monster Avery says ghillie suits and stuff would be cool. Yeah, even things like that where you could attach certain things to change it up, or even things like take it off on one place. Like I saw it was in another game, but in this other game they made this particular set of armor because you use a knife in one hand, so they removed all the armor off that side, but on the other side you used a shield, so it was like heavily armored on this side. I just thought that was really cool. So you can kind of mix and match to tailor what weapons you use and stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. And
if you could match for, not only like at the moment we say I want these arms and you get the armor on both arms, so you say I want medium armor on this arm, light armor on this arm, that could
it's all doable. It just really depends on how deep they want to go, and whether the as I always say with stuff like this, there is some level of diminishing returns where it takes just as long to do this, but what do you get for it? And that is a really good, like I on our Discord yesterday, there was someone was saying I really want them to do the Perseus before the Galaxy, and my reply to them was really simply, but you just get so much more for the Galaxy than you get from the Perseus. And this person hasn't, I don't know if they've replied yet, I haven't gone and checked, but you get my point, right?
But you're right. The Perseus is niche in terms, yes, it is combat.
Yep.
And combat is popular, and I can understand so many people wanting it, but when you look at what you can do with the Galaxy, the second you bring in the modules and make the and the fact that we've now got modulars for the Retaliator actually opens the door for so many more.
I think honestly
you will get more out of the Galaxy than you will out of the Perseus.
Yeah. So from our point of view, Star Citizen, Perseus is just combat, but I honestly think the Perseus is being done for Squadron 42 Episode 2, much like why I think the Polaris is being done now, because you've got to sit there and go, what is the benefit of we don't actually have Saber meshing in yet. Why would you want to do the Polaris? Squadron 42 Episode 2, they're about to start, like as one ends, they'll start development on the next, if they haven't already, to be honest with you, you know, and that's why they just going straight into the next one. And what's the next ship for that? Obviously it's got to be something to do with the Polaris, because why would you go out of your way? We don't need that big ship right now. What benefit does it add to Star Citizen? We don't have the gameplay to support it. It just doesn't make sense. So it's got to be a Squadron 42 related thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or funding thing, but
We'll see.
Maxwell TV goes back to the chairs and says these chairs come with fans.
Well, I'm not a fan. Are you?
No, I'm not a fan.
So probably not.
If I were Drake chairs, I'd expect them to have a fan attachment.
Oh, I should show that thing I showed you during the week, Algared, if I can find it again. That was on Reddit. The Drake one. Do you remember?
Yep.
Yeah. Don't give it away. I'll see if I can find it. Hold on.
Yep. And while you do that, Carsten Krog Christensen says, "How do you guys like the Dying Star paints?"
Love them, actually. I bought them both. We can show those off. Hang on. I can't do two things at once.
I like that Lego Ursa. Not Lego Ursa, but Lego
Ices? That was also posted on our Discord, by the way. Someone posted it on there before they posted.
I like that.
So they're talking about these ones, Algared. So so yeah, they're graffiti in style. I've been watching Expat fly them around. So the knife, not so crash hot, to be honest. I think that it kind of shows they clearly should have had a third one. And I can't believe they don't have a version of the cutter. They should have just had the cutter in here. That would have worked perfectly. It works way better on the Vulture, and I think it's really because they haven't covered as much of the Corsair as they could have done. Like the top is very bland, under the wings is very bland, under the bottom is very bland. Where this one, it's just covered in graffiti.
Yep. And
they needed to do the same for this.
The other thing is when you're flying your Vulture, you will actually see all that graffiti on the arms. So whereas when you find the Corsair, you don't see anything. So and I'm talking when you're in the first person view, not the third person looking outside the ship. So
why it keeps blocking Bowler for some reason. He's spamming messages.
He's done too many. He's done too many messages in such a short time.
Slow down, bro. Slow down. Keep it in your pants. Keep it in your pants. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I read them all though. I read them all. I opened them all and read them. But there's nothing there offensive. It's just you're saying them too fast.
It's just you're posting too quick.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like it. I will put it this way. I resubscribe to get them. That's just everything you need to know. And if I really want something, I would just get Algared usually to buy it. But it worked out just the same price to get it myself. So it was just like, fine, I'll subscribe this month.
I do like the Vulture one, but unfortunately that's the one you got to buy.
Yeah. Well, they're going to learn very quickly the types of paints people like. Like when I first saw these in the leak stuff, I was like, oh man, I'm going to buy those without even blinking. And Expat was saying like, man, if she'd got kickbacks off them, the number of people that came in and that had looked at the asked her where she got the skins from, and then they went off and bought the skins. So they've probably had a lot of uptick in subscribers this month just based on wanting to get the skins.
Just for the skins because people want them. Yeah, 100%.
And I'm going to tell you what I can tell you straight off the bat why they've been so popular, and it's not because they're just graffiti; it's because of the detail. They have detail, or they add detail. It makes it add detail across the entire ship, and it's not the same. It breaks it all up, right? When you have these plain red, plain blue, even multicolored tint, it's still very samey. This is the first thing they've really added out that just adds a high level of detail to a skin.
I think there are two basic ship skins that we've liked that really go to that. One is the Defender. Yep, we've kind of got that detail on the skin coming from the pattern.
Agreed, 100% agreed.
And the Vesulian with that kind of rock skin, that detail that comes from that.
And I know if Paul Pete's still listening, he'd agree with that because I've heard him say the same thing as well when he's been streaming. Yeah, you lose a lot of detail when they went back to normal ones on the Vesulian.
And that's one of the things you've said. Even you bring out a skin that goes on the Defender or Vesulian and you put it on and you go,
it's worse than the default because the default's got all these detailing. Yeah, 100%. Can't not agree with both those statements. Yeah.
So, I think that just holds true. So So yes, we do like those skins.
That was that one. Mark Zoll says, when we get new paints for ships available in game. I'm starting to feel Mark Zoll is not a natively English speaker.
Yeah.
So when we get new paints for ships available in game, I'm going to assume they're the paints he was talking about, and they're now available in game. But and then the next new set of paints will come with whatever ship is next. And actually, that's something we should probably talk about too, Algared. From Twitter. So I posted that on Twitter. So if I can go back to our profile.
Referring to the sneak peek one you looked at?
So I posted this up, and it got picked up by a few people and had its whole own thread. Board Gamer got involved, and a whole bunch of other people got involved. But basically, because no one had really gone and taken this and pulled all the details out of it. Yeah.
So this was the sneak peek from the end of Jump Point.
Yeah, and so, people went through and did their, they went back and added details. I even went back and made it red because it's QED, things like that. We started looking at alternatives because the holes in the wings and things like that. So, yeah, it was just really interesting. It's going to have an interesting wing structure because it essentially embraces the holes and makes them even bigger than the other variants and stuff like that. But yeah, because I kept reminding people it's QED, and people board was like, man, I can't find that link, and I ended up sending it to him. I did find it, but it took me like 3 hours to find it. But yeah, what he said was, it was John Crew on one of the videos, and he literally said it'll be the thing that everyone thought that the Firebird was going to be. And what we were talking about on the thread on Twitter that day, everyone was saying it was QED. So the assumption, it is still an assumption, but I think it's pretty much confirmed that this is a QED.
Just because that's what before it was launched, everyone said, "Oh, it'll be QED. It'll be QED."
Yeah. So we even said it was going to be QED when we streamed it that week, didn't we? So, but based on what everyone thought it was going to be, it means this is a QED. Yeah. And the other interesting thing is, if you kind of look where the logo is there, I know it's kind of hard to see because it's like all thingoed, but it definitely has something else in there, and I think they're using the Aegis logo to hide it a little bit, but that's where the QED would be. So it folds out and it's in that center area. So
which for the would be where your torpedo bay is, where your where
the Raven stuff is as well. Yeah.
So it's where the MP gets stored, it's where the torpedoes get stored. It just makes perfect sense. And the question is whether it becomes a top axis or it still goes with the bottom axis.
Well, they also did an inverted thing with the color system on the Firebird. They made it black and red, but when it came out, it was actually red and white. And that's why I went, well, hang on, it's green. So that's why I inverted it to the red one, because I was like, okay, so that's probably more in line. And I know I'm probably a little bit off the mark. And then people were throwing around names, and a lot of people, like I even grabbed onto it. See how it almost looks like a snake's mouth behind? So it was like, is it going to be a snake name? But I have to be honest, I think it's going to be a bird name. But man, you're grabbing at straws and just be guessing. Like, Board Gamer said, and I can't fault him on this because it actually would work, is Raptor. He actually took the Raptor one from before and applied it to this. It would work.
Yeah.
I'd be thinking more along something along a bird that grabs you, like the talon's already taken, but you know what I mean? Like it could be the Nighthawk or something like that, though. Like grabbing onto it was Firebird, Nighthawk. You see where I'm going, right? We'll see. We'll see what they call it. At the end of the day, it's just a name. But yeah, I think we can safely say, now that this has been hinted at, I think it took about a month for it to come out. And I look forward to what's in the next month. Now, the only thing I can think of, Algared, that's set for this month, for the last 3 years, was the Foundation Festival.
Yep.
So I don't know. Is this the type of thing? Would you see them selling this at the Foundation Festival? You don't know.
I raise my hand in. It's
yeah. So roughly tomorrow was the earliest I saw it start in July for Foundation Festival, but it also started as late as the 12th. So I would expect sometime in the next 2 weeks we'll probably have the Foundation Festival, unless they years prior to that it did start in August. So I would say safely in the next 2 months we're going to have the Foundation Festival.
I've suggested Pirate Week if it's a
Pirate Week September.
Yeah.
So it's possible. It's totally
possible. But being a QED ship, I could say Pirate Week. Because that's what the police use to stop the pirates. It's what the pirates use to stop their cargo.
I'll give you that. It probably does.
I could do that.
It does definitely fit Pirate Week more than it does Foundation. But again, I can't see them not taking the opportunity. If they don't sell this, and again, they're already teasing this, so I'd have to say this is the next one. Yeah, I think they're going to take. I don't know if you've noticed, but they're taking the opportunity to have a sale almost every month.
Yep.
They're definitely money raising for the release of Squadron. It's very obvious to me.
Yep.
But yeah.
Sparkplug also, is it Sparkplug? No, AK-47 says a Mantis killer would be the Cicada. Yeah, I could see something like that. I don't think you'll get a Mantis killer in per se.
Yeah, I think we can.
But yeah,
I think we can definitely agree that it is bird themed because they've got Raven, Firebird. My brain goes to Hawk for some reason because of the claws and the grabbing and the pulling. You know, like you tell me a bird that another one that kind of grabs on with talons. So it's like eagle, hawk. I can't really get past those, and that's kind of where I'm at. The saber eagle, saber hawk, saber nighthawk. Because again, they went firebird instead of just because they wanted to lean into the red aesthetic. And if they're showing off a green aesthetic there, what's green? What's a green bird? Seahawk? I don't know. You tell me. Falcon? Yeah, I've heard a few people say the Falcon. A Falcon would work as well, actually. I'll give you that one. Who said that in chat? Jizzle Bizzle said that. Yeah, Falcon. Kestrel. Yeah, so it's interesting. Pissball Pete said Kestrel. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I don't know. You guys play it through, and you got to remember, obviously, they're saying these over in their head, trying to sound which one sounds the coolest. Saber Falcon kind of sounds cool to me. More cooler than Saber Kestrel. So, yeah. And put Saber in front of it. Yeah. The prisoner has lost the plot. He's gone dodo. Yeah, no. But yeah, Saber Falcon, I think, would work. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Like, again, at the end of the day, the name's the least interesting part of it, let's be honest. It's another ship. And I do think, Algared, I kind of put this question off to you as well. Of the Saber, Raven, and Saber variants, the one that's probably the closest to the Raven would be this. More than the Firebird, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. 100%. The one that a QED version would be closest to a Raven because the Raven's got the EMP. I do like the Osprey. That was one I suggested earlier. I'd also like to see some of the Australian Hawks and Eagles. You know, they are very, very much into the Australian butcher bird. Yeah, they're lovely.
The plover. The plover.
Oh, the plover. Oh, they are bad.
Saber plover. Oh, God, no. Yeah. If you guys know anything about plovers in Australia, they are deadly. So here in Australia, unlike, because there are plovers in other countries, apparently, but here in Australia, they evolved to have a burr on the, essentially what would be their elbow. And essentially, if it hits you in a particular, because they swoop at you and they hit you, and if it's been known to hit people in their temple and kill them.
Yeah, so they come in and swoop with their spur, and they are the Australian version. In terms of avians, they are the
Australian flying goat.
they are the Vandal scythe or glaive of the bird world. Yeah, they've literally got little spurs on the front of their wing, and they will dive bomb you. And they're territorial, and unlike magpies, which do swoop on people.
There's another good one there, Saber Sparrow. Don't mind that one.
Yep.
Crow would be a good fit too. Actually, Crow would work as well because of the Raven. Saber Crow. I like that. Yeah.
Yep. A magpie in Australia, Robert, is a black and white songbird. They live for about 25, 30 years.
Oh, but not in Canberra, man. So the posties in Canberra will literally put spikes on their helmets because the magpies will swoop them as well. But they're not as deadly as the plovers. But they do hurt you if you do it wrong.
Magpies swoop, but they actually they live in a particular area. They actually learn the locals in their area, and if you treat magpies well, they will treat you well. They won't dive you.
Oh, they just don't like. They just don't like. I lived in Canberra, Algared, right? So I can literally speak to this, right? They just don't like bike riders. I don't know why. But someone probably pissed them off or attacked them, like you said, as a bike rider. But they genetically learn, right? And this happens with a lot of animals. And I'll give you another example before I come back to magpies. Lions. One of them recently, one of the parks in Africa, about 2 years ago, he attacked a human, and now they all want to attack humans because they know what they taste like. So they're having to shut down and move this the lions out of this safari park because they all want to attack the humans and the keepers and everything. It took one to taste one, and now they all want to eat them.
But magpies will, they do learn the locals. They do, they can remember up to about 100 faces.
Yeah. They've done tests with them. They're quite intelligent. They can do that. You know the test that they give primates with the 3 different sizes things? I can't remember what it's called. But they can complete some of those tests and stuff. And they make tools. Like you can give them wire and they'll turn it into a hook and stuff like that. So they're not stupid. They're quite intelligent.
And their songs are actually...
Yeah.
They're saying, this is territory, this is come and help. So their songs are beautiful. Oh, man, I love a magpie song. Yeah. I will just zone out. But yeah, they're beautiful. They're fantastic. But I used to get dive bombed by them all the time. But these days I haven't been dive bombed by a magpie in 20 years just because I started passing a bit of food to them. And
I never had one ever attack me on foot, but if I was on bike, they'd go after you like crazy. So yeah. Somewhere along the line, someone on a bike attacked them. Yeah.
So someone wearing a helmet, a yellow helmet or a white helmet, did something that cheesed them off, and anyone wearing that type of helmet gets it. And then the second you get dive bombed, you get paranoid, so you start reacting, and then that just
makes it worse. Well, again, look, we can kind of stop talking about this now, but if you want to see what we're talking about, just Google magpie attack or something like that. There are hundreds of videos of people on bikes getting swooped and stuff. So
but I've got to admit, the plumbers, they are 100 times worse than
and they're super territorial. Oh boy, they're territorial. They used to scare the shit out of me as a kid. It was it was almost like being, you hear the Stukas in movies and stuff, and they'd go around, and you'd see the bird take off, and you're like, I've got 3 seconds to get out of here. So you'd like try and run, and then you'd dive behind something before and then you'd hear them swoop, like, come at you, and you're just like, oh shit, get behind something, and then they are
absolutely savage. And the worst thing about them is they will nest on a field.
Yeah.
So anywhere there's, they'll decide, your front lawn looks like a great place to nest, and they'll nest there. And
I've seen them turn up in the middle of football fields where they came to play a game, and they've had to come in and remove the eggs and move the eggs out so they'd stop attacking people. It was crazy.
Because they will literally, they'll decide, I'm nesting on this field. And so at least magpies will nest in the trees. The plumbers, they are horrible birds. Nasty, vicious, stupid.
All right, you guys talk about things that want to kill you. We don't see the snakes and spiders too often, but there is an everyday thing. Plumbers and magpies that a lot of people will be able to relate to.
Plumbers, I'll pass three or four nesting pairs on my way to work each day. So.
All right, Induralis Indomus says, question, ISC, will you talk about server meshing? And at the end, Jared said 4.0 will have multiple star systems. Yeah, well, we didn't do our coverage of that because I did watch it and I went, there's nothing that really we can speak to here that we haven't really spoke to before. And it was kind of them talking about their experience more than talking about server meshing. It was more like, we're just kind of happy with how it's going. So there wasn't really much that me and Algared could add to that. But yeah, everything you said there is correct. That was really what I took it out of it too. Multiple star systems for 4.0. And again, that was kind of what we've heard in the past. They want 5 systems for 1.0.
Yep. We've always heard, the line of 5. And that line of 5 has always been worked on from the system that Squadron's in.
Yep.
And linking that up to Stanton, and then back was 4, and then you had 1 over. And then that last system was always the one that's always, back goes to Stanton, it goes to,
And from what I've been hearing, in the background from multiple people now, is it's Castra.
Yep. So, and you hear various things throughout the years, but it's. But I could see at least 5, and I could imagine if they've got a few more done that they do that. And there's nothing stopping them doing a temporary if they've got Lear done. There's nothing stopping them decide, yeah, we're going to have a temporary jump point to this location. Because they can.
What the fuck? Okay, so someone sent this to me, so I'm going to open this because I think it's relevant to the thing that we're just having. This is taken from Pipeline. Apparently, this is the name of the bird. Peregrine.
Peregrine. A peregrine falcon. Yep. That's a falcon.
It is a falcon, isn't it? A peregrine is a falcon. Is that what it is?
Falcon, yeah.
I was about to ask what it is. What is a peregrine?
Peregrine.
What is a peregrine?
Falcon.
Peregrine falcon. Yeah, I would have just called it the Saber falcon. Why do they? So, Algared, tell me, you're a lore person. Why do people that do lore sometimes try to be fancy-pantsy and make things way more complicated than they have to?
If I call it the Falcon, I can't use other Falcon names for other ships. If I call it the Peregrine,
that hasn't stopped them before, Algared. I don't want to point it out to you, but there's a Liberator and a Liberator, and they're both Anvil. And
this is an endeavor to break away from that. So I can have a Peregrine Falcon. I can have a Peregrine. I can have an Osprey. I can have a Goshawk. I can have.
They've done it before, but I don't. Maybe they got another ship planned that's the Falcon. But yeah, I wouldn't call it the Peregrine. That's just a bit weird.
Yeah, I just think it just enables them to.
Well, I've seen five other ones in here that they could have used, like the Condor. Yep. We saw, you know.
Look, I could see. I would do a class of ship called the Falcon, and then I'd do the variants as the Peregrine, Goshawks, you know, along that line. That would be how I would look at the naming. But that's me.
Yeah.
But yeah. Moving on. Monster AV predictions for the 7 unannounced vehicles that got work. Was kind of wondering about the base building, but it seems slim. They did mention working on scanning as well. Wonder if we get more scout ships.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We've learned it. I think you guys have seen it as well. We got rated. Hang on, Oztech.
Awesome.
Expat rated. Thank you, Expat. How you doing? Good to see you.
Come and join us.
Yeah, come join us.
Come and hijack our stream.
If you've got time, darling, come join us. No problem. We're just talking about the new skins and stuff.
We love having you join us and ask us lots of questions and.
Yeah, we just found out the I don't know. I'd like to get your thoughts because I think it's a bit weird as well. You can't tonight? Yeah, that's fine. Well, we're just talking about the new Saber. Oh, look at it so you can see. But apparently, it's from leaks. The new Saber is going to be called the Peregrine. And I had to Google what that was, and apparently, Algared was correct. It is a Falcon. So yeah,
I was correct. You besmirched my credibility so many times.
Hey, I just checking. It just sounded so. Peregrine is like, it's not roll off the tongue. It's just weird. Yeah, it's a stupid name. No offense, but to CIG, but just call it the Falcon. And if you want to use the Falcon for other names, then pick a different bird. It's just a variant.
Go. It's a Peregrine Falcon.
Yes, Algared is very highly educated. He is the most educated guy I know. Yeah. Educated. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm educated.
Yeah.
2 degrees and a diploma. Woohoo.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. Next question then. Prediction for the. Oh no, it's 7 unannounced ships. We got to go over that.
Expat says the MSR is the Falcon. We all know.
That's true. Yeah, Millennium Falcon. Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
That's what they should have called it. They shouldn't have called it the MSR. They should have just called it the Falcon.
Yep.
Because that's not the Millennium Falcon. It's just the Falcon.
No, it's the Falcon. So yes.
You don't think I'm pronouncing edumacation correctly? I wonder why. Maybe that's deliberate. Edumacation. Yeah. It's an old joke if you know it.
Yeah. He was more educated.
It's people that can't say educated. They say edumacation.
He's got real good education. He speaks good English. Yeah, he's speaking real good.
Yeah. Yeah. So
No,
right
it was me taking the mickey out of the western suburbs of Sydney.
now the 7 unannounced ships. You and I went through.
Mhm.
God, it must have been back when we were looking at the silhouette video, and we went back through monthly report stuff. This was about a month ago. Remember, you and I went through, and there was
Yep.
we literally got it down to one that we couldn't figure out, and that was the Ironclad. I think
Yep.
was the one that came out. But now you're saying that they're saying there's another 7 unannounced ships that have been started, or was it started or wrapping up? Got work. It's kind of one base building. Yeah, but again, we were able to work it through. I don't know. They say that, but now you're saying the 7 unannounced. That's like 7 new ones have started. Then, if that's the case.
Well, if they've got 7 vehicles or ships that have started work on in the tracker, then yeah, haven't really given it much thought at the moment. Maybe that's our show this week.
And what part of them are not announced? Is it things like the Perseus that they just haven't announced they've started? You know, is it you know, things like that? Because we heard they went into grey box on the Galaxy, so that's been announced. Is it just the announcing of them being started, or is it them never being announced? And that's the thing that you can never tell because it's always vague.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. 7's good. It's good to know. Will we find out over time? Yeah, it definitely tells me that they've picked up speed on the ship team, and obviously 2 of those would have to be the Mirai looking one and the starter ship, I guess we'll call it. I want to call it the RSI starter because I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. Would you agree with me on that? Statistically, that's more than likely what it is, but yeah, it could be another manufacturer. But the one from the silhouette video, silhouette starter, how would we call it that?
So one of our first time chatters from Expat says, "How about this is urban anxiety? How about stop announcing unannounced ships and start finishing old ships?"
Well,
and
John did talk to that in the same video that I went through that I had to find the new Sabers of QED. He talked about how they have to balance old and new and try and always get one old one out. But again, you can clearly see them moving into that family of ships thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And that family of ships thing does enable them to work on the old ships as well as the new. And it's part of that whole process of when they used to build ships, they literally would go by what looked good, and build the ships almost uniquely. Now, as they go forward, they've got the ship pipeline and they're able to build more. As they build up the artwork, it's easier for them to go forward rather than so the older ships still take more time. So I understand why the older ships take so much time. And just like everyone else, I want my old ships. I want those now.
It's one with a question mark, wasn't it, Algared? So this is the one me and Algared did on it. It's got a thumbnail like this. I'm just going to cut it over so you can see. Someone was just asking, Urban Anxiety was asking, where can I see this video? This is the one me and Algared did on it. And I can drop a link there for you, Urban. I'll just drop it. I'll just literally copy this. Oh, it's queued up. You don't want it queued up though, do you? You want to watch the whole thing. But if you want to go find the official one, it'll be around there somewhere, Urban. But basically, when we did it, we went through the video and we kind of analyzed it all because we've been here long enough, big enough and ugly enough that this is the one where we did tinfoil hats. So everyone had a good laugh at our expense. That's fine. But we basically went through the entire video, and I'm going to be honest, not too much has changed even since when we did it. When was this? This was like end of last year, wasn't it, Algared? We did that one?
Yeah, it was very soon after the
8 months. 8 months ago, me and Algared did that one. You can see Algared hasn't changed his clothes. Oh, he says he's changed his tie.
No, I've changed my tie.
That's it.
My tie occasionally wear out and fall apart, so I have to replace them. Yep.
Yeah, but we go through all the ships in detail in that one. Or you could probably just, I think it was the ship talk, but it was a very small section of the entire presentation where we just take just that little bit. So as you go through it.
Come on, you're saying I haven't checked. Shirt's different, trimmed, no glasses, shaved head, totally different.
Yeah, you're not wearing a hat. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
See how he insults me all the
time. That was in
Oh.
summer though. Like I've got my hoodie on now. I didn't have my hoodie on before, so yeah, that's about it. Anyway, Eating off that can.
My mate Tomako says he changed his tie. That's a lot.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So for the 7 unannounced ships, that's a big question to answer, Monster.
Yeah.
We might have to look into that again. But as I said, we looked at it last month, and there was only one we couldn't account for, and that was the Ironclad.
Yeah. If there are 7 unannounced ships or vehicles, that I don't think fits in with the curtain. Yeah. So yeah,
well, they've been announced. Or no, some of them haven't been announced. Like the Mirai Guardian hasn't been announced.
No.
And
well,
the RSI Starter one hasn't been announced.
Teased, but hasn't been. Yeah, they've been teased but not announced.
So there's 2 of them, and they could also be vehicles. So I would throw my hat in the ring and say there's at least 2 vehicles in there. At least.
Well, even if you just go the base building vehicle, that's 1.
Yep.
The Guardian type ship and the starter, that's 3 of the 7. So
yeah, straight off the bat, there's 3 knocked off. So what are the last 4? And I think you could almost say that the Saber Pettigreen is one of them.
Yep, that's 4.
So there's 4.
The Ironclad's 5, and if you take the variant of the Ironclad, that's 6.
Yeah.
So very quickly you've got 6 or 7 ships already.
That's if they've started working on the Ironclad though. But yeah, you can knock it off pretty quickly. It's never as big as it feels once you start looking at it.
And I think if your starting ships is going as far as even just mapping out in the computer the space they take up. So, so lots of options and variations of what it could be.
I will bet money. So someone in Mr. Thor just said the last Zeus variant. I will bet money we'll see that last Zeus variant probably at CitizenCon, along with whenever, because I reckon that's when we'll see the Mirai Guardian. I think that'll come at CitizenCon along with the racing variant of the Zeus. That's what I think we're getting at CitizenCon. I could be wrong, but that's just my feeling. Because again, they've worked on the Zeus all year long, so to make a variant of it that doesn't really have many game requirements, the ST sounds like a no-brainer. And then if you bring out the Mirai Guardian, and if you look at all the Mirai ships, they've essentially been combat or racing. Yeah. So the default variant is the combat. They bring out a medium racer. They need something to race against. There's the medium racer in the Zeus ST.
Yep.
Boom.
Yeah, and then you can chuck in, you make the MSR compatible, and I know that there are in the Crux Cup, there has been the last 2 have had CIG teams, CIG racing team, and Crux Cup focuses on long, endurance racing for the covered ships of every category. So I know that for the track at Orison, they actually went in and moved some of the signings they'd put in for the short races, so as to unblock the track for the Crux Cup.
Well, Expat was just saying there's a race in Zeus. Yes, there is. So when they first put these images up, there was actually 4 of them.
Right.
So you can see it over here on the left, and it's got extra wings and stuff. Also, from the official, this is from CitizenCon. A lot of people thought the ship was called the Status because it said Zeus Status, but it was the status of the Zeus itself. This was one of the actual. You can see here it's an ST and it's got different fins on it and stuff like that. Now, if you think back to other ships that have extra fins, and a good example is the LXs, so the Razor LX and the Mirai, what is it? No, the Fury LX. They have extra wings on them, and so it's usually racing connotations. And we believe ST stands for sport, what was the other one? No, there was 2 that we had: sport and sports touring. That was the other one. Sports touring or sport. And we believe it's a medium racer, and the reason they didn't bring it out is it had no other medium racer to go up against, and it was only in concept. So again, if the Mirai Guardian comes out being a medium ship, and we know Mirai only do combat and racing, is its competitor. So at the same time,
Mirai's done to do the high quality stuff, which leverages into the racing and they've given it combat as well.
Yep.
So that ties. The only other ship that's really been billed as being a long distance endurance fast ship is the MSR.
Yep.
And so that gives you 3 kind of.
I kind of want to shoot down Oz Veteran there on Twitch. He said it could be a stealth bomber. No. What type of stealth bomber has a sunroof? Look at it. Look above the cargo bay area for the Zeus. It literally has windows. And people will go, but why would you want turrets on a well, because it's a long range endurance racer. This is meant to go across multiple systems, right? So you could see the concept is they wanted to drop this roughly when server meshing comes in, so you can race all the way through Stanton and across and all the way through Pyro. And if you're doing that, you got to think of like the Ewoks from the pod racing. You'll have bad guys shooting at you, so you got to shoot back to get them off your back while you're racing.
He means the sand people, not the Ewoks.
I said Ewoks. I meant to say Tusken Raiders is what I meant to say.
Yep.
Yep. Is what I meant.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all the Javas, if they're stunning you to, steal your stuff. But yeah.
I don't actually know what ES stands for, expat. Essential. Is that what you think it is? Exploring.
The Essential Explorer ship. The Essential.
Hmm.
It's what they use for the
there's big differences, expat, between the CL and the ES. The ES has actually less cargo and the CL has more. So yeah, there are some big differences between. Well, for example, the CL also has a tractor beam. The other 2 variants don't. So yeah, there's quite a bit of difference between all of them. Thank you for the.
I'm going to start again. Just pop into chat.
Thank you for the.
Rather than trying to read your questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Stacey Bertan, for the gifted sub to expat. Appreciate it. She can't though. She apparently can't stay. She's got things to do, but she's been here for 2 minutes.
Oh yeah. He said that last time and was stayed for 3 hours.
Yeah, I know. And then when we went off stream, she stayed for 2 more.
Yeah, that's probably why she doesn't want to come in.
Because we're going to keep her here for like 5 hours.
Yeah. She knows she'll end up staying for 5, yeah. No, I can't go in. I can't go in. I've got to be strong.
Yeah. She ends up staying for too long. We end up chit-chatting for 8 hours. So,
even after we left, we ended up talking for easily an hour afterwards. Hey, Lena Maria, lovely to see you. It's been a long time. Long time between drinks.
Long time, Lena Maria. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, it's so lovely to see you. So why would they release any long-range racing ship for a niche that doesn't exist and with no competition? How would they just be distinct from explorers and tourers?
Well, I think that's the thing. Like right now, racing is essentially going around a track. This is like a long range endurance race, and we're talking about a game that eventually, when it has all the systems, remember they talked about it would take 22 days to visit all 100 systems. So if you can envision a race that goes right around the outside or right across or something like that, and it could take you, 2 or 3 days to do that. And if you're logging in and logging out on the ship as well, multiple crew members, like someone's in the back, we're coming up to a section where we need high radiation resistance. So the engineer person's got to modify it also it works. And then, we're under attack. So shoot them off, and you obviously need supplies because you're going for a long amount of time, so you're going to eat while you're doing, and also rotate through whoever's driving. Yeah,
but I also think it's not just racing becomes an aspect of what it does. So the MSR is a racing ship, in my opinion. It's made for long distance.
It was in lore. They had stuff in lore about it.
It does a whole pile of the information technology stuff of being an Inforunner.
Yep.
Inforunners by nature are racers. Their idea is to get that information as quickly as you can to a different location.
It's something.
Priority transport ships do the same thing.
So expat's pointing out something that you and I talked about too. Is it we talked about if you looked at the other medium variants, the Spirit would be a really like an R1 or something like that from the Crusader would make a lot of sense because they're built for speed.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully there is some other variants that's coming in that medium class. Man, that could be a big thing. They just come out and so all of a sudden every medium ship has a variant that's a racer. So a Cutlass racer, a freelancer. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm saying it would be kind of cool if they did, though. You know, you get to CitizenCon and go, it's like, bang, here's 6 new ships and they're all races. So, you know, that'd be kind of crazy.
I think, so you look at a profession, and then you look at the side things off that. So, you know, some of the early things we see, like you look at the America's Cup race. The America's Cup yacht race started off as a 12 Guinea Cup. It was a race between ships that raced across the cutters that went from America to England bringing tea, because the faster you could get it there was the better.
So I've just realized, if you did do what I just said, Zeus, Freelancer, Cutlass, Spirit, and the Mirai, there's 5 new ships right there. Just saying. You wanted 7, there's 5.
And if you're doing racing, all of those ships, you know, cargo ships, info running ships, they all tie into that aspect of being, you know.
And they also can work as smuggling ships when they're not racing, because of their speed, which is something you like, because that was something we looked into. Why would you need a cargo bay on a racer? And it's, again, because of the distance you're going, but also when you're not using it as a racing ship, you can use it for smuggling. It's a little bit like how the Raelian works with the blockade running, which is what the what's those boats they always used to run from Cuba to the USA in the 70s, Algared? Kind of like that, you know.
Yep. But, you know, it's the idea of the cutter ships. You know, the cutters were fast tea transport ships that were used to get both
merchant clipper. Is that what you're talking about? The merchant clipper ones?
Yeah, clippers. They would race across the.
Well, that's where
their cargo was such a priority. So
that's where the name CL comes from in the Zeus CL, is clipper.
It's where it's where the name comes from, the Aurora series. It was that idea of being able to take stuff quick, at least originally, and that's what the MSR was kind of picking up as well. That speed, and it's what the merchantman was originally supposed to kind of be, that fast transport ship. But you know, if you're looking at the history of racing, that's where the America's Cup comes from. The America's Cup originally started as a race between American and English clipper ships. And it used to be across the Atlantic.
Yeah.
You know, so, and it was a 12. I think it was a 13 Guinea Cup, not the 12 Guinea Cup, but yeah.
Essentially, not taking a smaller ship so you could get it across speed. Yeah, I get your concept. All right, Chris, we have always lambasted the Cutlass Steel as overpriced. What if the Cutlass Steel is not meant to be compared to the Cutlass Black, but the Anvil Valkyrie? Is the Valkyrie overpriced?
Regardless of what world you're in, I still think the Cutlass Steel is overpriced and a piece of shit.
You can put the Valkyrie next to the Cutlass, and let's instead of talking about it, let's just do it.
Have a look.
Yeah.
Like, while you're pointing out, I'll use my usual rant on the steel. My biggest beef with steel is Drake ships are always already overgunned on their frame. And you take a Cutlass frame that is already overgunned, you rip out everything that makes it unique by taking out its living quarters, fill it with 20 seats, which is insane, and then upgun it even more.
You know,
it has less armor, so
yeah. But also you look at a, this is a 1-deck ship versus a 2-deck ship. It just
a ship that can't take vehicles versus a ship that can.
I just think there's so much more in the Valkyrie than there is in this. Like, this carries 28 people, this carries 20 people and 4 vehicles. How the hell did they fit that into a ship that size? That's nuts. You put them next to each other like that, it's like, what the hell? What? Like, what? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So, and from side on, kind of about the same. But again, when you go to top down,
You can see the
it's filled out more. It's essentially, if you take just the body, it's twice the width, isn't it? You know.
Yep.
You are getting more ship, right? And
you're getting more ship and
more versatility, more guns. You're getting better VTOL. You're getting really a military designated ship in Anvil, where Drake is more of a bit of everything manufacturer. I know Expat uses the Volk a lot. Expat, would you take the Valk over the Cutlass, even though it's more expensive? And when I say that's a Cutlass Steel, mind you, 235 versus I think it's 375 to 235, so it's like $150 difference roughly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. It's interesting. Well, this is built for Squadron. This is clearly in Squadron, by the way, because that was what it was built for. Because they wanted a dropship. They made the Hoplite. The Hoplite didn't pan out for what they needed. Then they built this. So this has got Squadron conversations. This Steel does not. And people at CIG warned them about the Steel. And they released it anyway.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, I got the impression the Steel was kind of part of that idea of when they were toying with the theaters of war campaign type battle. They wanted a spawn ship for the opposing team.
Yep.
You had the Ursa. They needed something for the opposing team to be able to spawn.
Yeah. I think. Again, when you and I are talking price until Algared, you and I would never pay that price because we could get it for much lower using CCUs. But like again, you just got to talking about their thoughts. So, sorry, people are bringing up pricing in both chats, so I just thought I'd address that real quick. Yeah. So look, again, different ships for different roles too. I think that's the other thing going through the military guys, and I've talked about this with Algared as well. Every dropship we found had a niche, had a very specific and targeted military thing, right? Again, if I was taking 20 people and only 20 people, I'd probably take the Cutlass, even though it fits 28, because I don't need the extra vehicles. And this is technically a larger signature.
Yep. But 235 versus 300, I still think the Valkyrie is the better ship.
Twice the size.
More ship, more versatility.
Yep.
You've still got some living quarters for the crew, at least for the ship. The Steel loses all its life support or living quarter type things for the crew.
It's got the 2 beds. I think that's about it. 2 beds and the gun racks. But yeah,
I thought they ripped everything out of it for the living quarters.
It's just the back. It's just the back that's been ripped.
Oh no, they ripped out all the cargo area, didn't they?
That's right. But this still has the cargo or vehicles, so it's kind of crazy. That's essentially what makes up the double the size, because it's keeping the cargo and the vehicles. So yeah, I don't know. I just find that too niche, right?
Yeah.
And the price just, whoever just sat there and could justify double the price was rocks in their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're not double. It's 235 versus 300 odd.
Double the Cutlass Black.
Yeah, double the Cutlass Black. Yeah. So yeah.
When you and I and Paul were talking, do you remember where we were saying, oh, it's probably somewhere between the red and the blue?
Yeah.
You know, that's 135 to 175. And we're like, oh yeah, 150 sounds just right on the money. Bang, and it comes out at 235. It's like crazy. Yeah. So anyway,
I hate the ship because it is undrake. It's too overgunned on a frame that was.
It's really weird because when you talk to Paul says it's the most Drake ship.
Yeah. Well, so Paul's wrong.
It's something you two disagree on.
Paul is wrong. There you go.
Awesome. All right. Look forward to prime fight time next time we get Algared and Paul together. They're gonna throw down. The gloves coming off.
And Mr. Thor, I'm not saying Drake is not glorious. I'm saying that my beef with the Cutlass Steel is that Drake ships are already upgunned.
Yep.
They're already putting more guns than the frame, than the frame can really take. And then you take a ship that's already overgunned and you put more guns on it, and you chuck in a heap more seats for crew. So you're now making the ship unable to have the life support, but it needs to support everyone. It just yes, it is Drake in that it's overgunning, but it's pushing the frame beyond what it can even do. If you've already got things at the maximum and you go further, you've either made the ship super, super short range, or you've totally screwed what you say about the brand. So if the Drake ships are not as overgunned as you claim they were originally, that means they aren't as bad as they're supposed to be, and you can put more armor and more speed and more weapons and stuff on them. I think the Steel absolutely craps all over what they've indicated about Drake ships in the past. So that's my beef with the ship. So yeah, the cutter needs more size 7s, absolutely.
I think the next question we've kind of already answered with previous things we've said, which is simply by Duran Vosk, who says, what do you think the new Saber variant will be? I think we kind of went over that before, but basically QED, and it looks like the name's going to be Pedigree. Pedigrim. Was it Pedigrim? Pedigrim? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Hagrid? What was it again? The name?
100%, yeah.
No. What was the name? No, don't just say 100%. What
Peregrine,
was?
Yeah, Peregrine. Peregrine was the name that had been found. The Saber Peregrine, which is a falcon. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Next one. Do you want to read the next question for me?
Yeah, Hook 2005 says, do you think the Squadron 42 reward chips will be available after Chapter 1?
No.
Yeah. No.
Oh, at the end of Chapter 1. Yes, sorry. I thought Chapter 1. I think it means in like the first level. No, not the first level, but after you finish the game. Yeah.
After you finish the first installment of the purchasable game, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Next one. Zavith says, do you think that we might see the Heartseeker come back one last time during Valentine's Day? Don't know. I really, really don't know. They've said they're not coming back ever again, but maybe that was their choice. They just decided that it was always meant to be a limited thing, and it is unlike them to not announce something. I guess I'd be hopeful of it to come back one more time on Valentine's Day, Algared. What about you?
I would be more. I think it's more likely. Well, I think there's two options. One, they bring it back because it's a unique paint skin on the ship, so it's a default.
Yep.
The other option is yes, they don't bring it back and they redo the paint skin onto the
Mark II. I was thinking exactly the same thing as you were saying it. Yeah.
So
makes a lot more sense to me. Yeah.
And I think it'd make more sense for them to bring out the new variant with the paint skin.
Yep.
And give an update. Do a CCU from that goes from the to that ship. So anyone who's got the old one could update to it.
Agree.
That would be my.
Yep, I agree with you on that one. Next question is Parker. Go ahead. You read.
Is it me, or does the woman in the thumbnail look like Execute's sister? Do you have a sister?
No, I do not.
There you go. So no, it doesn't.
So yeah, no, all boys. I'm the oldest of. I got to count now. Hang on.
So what they're saying is that looks like you. If Execute was a woman, that's what he'd look like.
I'm hot. Yeah, good to know.
Well, he does like his character to be female. He plays Star Citizen.
It depends which game I'm playing. Like someone asked us the other day, and like for example, when I play Dark Tide, I've got 2 females and 2 males. So I'm not really locked into one. I just play what I feel like. I build my characters to what they are, so.
Yeah. I do have a question for Chris. In what way in CitizenCon fight special, me versus Berserkers, because of Berserkers 01? Now, I gave a Berserker 01, like Paul, loves Drake. And I don't like Drake. I don't dislike Drake. I just dislike the Steel because I think it breaks the Drake mold. And it's overpriced. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Broken AI. And I just took you and said it. Yeah. Yeah. From talking about the
it's fine.
Your model there. The feminine Execute. I think it's just that she's in red. That's why they just think it's your sister.
Right.
Broken AI. Non-Star Citizen related. Have either of you guys picked up any games from the Steam summer sale? If so, what?
Actually, I haven't.
No.
I don't play a huge range of games. I can tell you someone who did though. My housemate, he is He goes through games like they're underpants. He just, yeah. Nah, there's none that have really taken my fancy. And let's be honest, because we're kind of living in that post-COVID era where there was a 3-year period of game development. It's about 3 years after that, we're starting to go into that period this year where the games that would have been made then are now coming out. And that's why there's a complete lack of new games, because there was and so for the next 2 years, it's kind of in a weird irony turn of fate, games like Grand Theft Auto 6, Squadron 42, they're going to make more money than they should have made because it's such a quiet period. So it's a great time to release them, because they will make a fortune, because they'll get more eyes on them. It's like, hey, this good game came out, and there's nothing. Oh, well, I've got nothing to play. I was going to play such and such, but this is out, and I don't want to. I've got to wait 6 months for that. Oh, I'll just buy this now. It's probably going to get more airtime. It's a good thing for Squadron. That's another interesting takeaway. Yeah.
So, yep.
What about you, Algared? Is there anything you've been playing on your new PC or not?
I did pick up Manor, but that wasn't in the summer sale.
I'm going to be honest with you. I returned Manor Lords. I didn't like it. It kept bugging out on me. Like, I watched Expat play it a lot before I picked it up.
Yep.
And I ended up refunding it because it just kept bugging out on me all the time. And I was just, it was always bugs, like that people would just stop doing things, and because of the bugs, the game wouldn't progress, and I just got sick of it. So I just refunded it. So yeah, I must be one of the very few people that have refunded it, but yeah, I got sick of it bugging out on me. Yeah, I know it's probably had a lot of updates, but I'll look at it down the road when it's done, and this is the other part of Expat. If I wait until it's out of early access and give it a couple of years, won't be $60, it'll be $30. So yeah.
Yep, it has had a lot of updates. It's quite an enjoyable. I quite enjoy it. It's a brain dead game. I can play it when I'm exhausted from work.
Yeah, I enjoyed what I played, but then it would always get to this point where it would just bug out and I couldn't progress, and it was because something with the AI. And when I read all the patch notes, there was a lot of other people having, not just patch notes, but Reddit and stuff like that. A lot of other people having the same issues. And I'm like, this is because it's one guy. It's going to take months to fix.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'll just get a refund. Yeah. Yep. All right. The Glass Sword says, question, during the gold standard, will we be seeing more ships with storage spaces like the Connie that have lockers that need to be replaced? Absolutely. As everything's been brought up to standard, we saw it already. I'm trying to think of the Saber itself. I remember when they went back and added the component stuff to the top of the to the Saber. They did that recently, and they've done it on a few others as well. And it's as they've learned. Like, look at the Pulse. They came back in and it had all these little component things. But you go back to Dragonfly doesn't have that. So they've got to go back to Dragonfly and add all those little component things. So, yeah.
Yep. And I think when they do that, we'll actually see those ships get polished up and have more balls or
In some cases, it's simpler. So, like when they did the Retaliator, they would just take out a panel and replace the panel. But then you got ones like the Dragonfly they mentioned. It's a lot more complicated because it's not just a panel. So they've got to there's probably more work to be done on a Dragonfly than say something like where they're just going to take the panel out, because it's just take one panel out and replace it and put boxes behind it. But with the Dragonfly, you've actually got to integrate that back into the actual chassis of the vehicle.
And the Dragonfly is now a very old ship.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you think how old the Dragonfly is, that I think predates some of the early ship pipelines.
Mm.
So, and I'm just trying to remember how old it is, and I actually think it's part of the old kind of building where.
I could guess, but I would be guessing. Well, let's just have a quick look. Dragon.
I'm thinking 16, 17. At least.
17th of June, 2016. That's about when I thought it was. Right? I was like 2015, 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, So that predates a lot of the ship pipeline stuff. So that's going to take a lot of the older stuff takes a lot more time to do, because you've got to go back and, as you were saying, change every block and component. And I think even some of the ships they'd built component spaces in or planned for component spaces, the component sizes changed. Once they worked out the metric that they're using for components, that changed the sizes for a lot of ships they were doing. You
look at the Dragonfly, you start to look where they put the components. Like if I know I'm in
Yeah.
Hank, look, I'm gonna flip it because I was in here for the other stuff. But you add a dragonfly in here, and you
Yeah.
start to realize pretty quickly it might have problems because, well, I don't think it will, but actually zoom in on it. Yeah, I can. Like, where do the components go in this thing? And the only place I can think of is like along the arms, Algared.
Yep.
Is that kind of where you're at as well?
You could put them in the nose. I suppose you could put some in the nose in the
Oh
front.
yeah, I'll give you that. But again, like there's not much. So because
there's not much space.
Yeah, these are 2 cargo saddlebags. You could probably put one here on the back, but there's got to be some along these arms. That's the only other place. And you know, you look at something like the Pulse. The Pulse had like 4 or 5 different components on it. So again, you take 4 or 5. We've just given you one here, one here. There's 2. So what? One in each arm. Like you pretty quickly you got to realize that wasn't designed for components.
No, that was designed to look cool.
Yeah.
So
that's going to have some issues. So
yeah.
I'm sure they'll solve. I'm sure they'll solve it. But like again, knowing that that's also meant to fold down, that's something else we haven't seen. Is like those legs, like apparently articulate almost a little bit like this, and so it can fold back and become shorter when you park into a ship. But we've not seen
that happen.
That's almost tech from the whole sea. Because it's got to be able to move and articulate. Well, it's not changing the internal zones, but it's got to move, right? So that means you've got to be able to move the components with the ship. So yeah.
It also, like, I remember when Elwin was working on the P-72, and he actually went through and talked about having to redesign it for the components.
Yep.
And that's an old ship now.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they did design components in for this thing from the get-go. But again, it's just, well, I've never seen any components open on it. Have you? So again, maybe again, we're just interested when the gold standard for it comes around. But anyway, right. I hope that answers that question because it was a bit long-winded. But Captain Blackwolf, evening from the UK, chaps. Question: do you think that we will get a salvage vehicle in between the Vulture and the Reclaimer at some point? I think you're already looking at it. Salvage, not repair. Yeah, I do, and I think it's the Caterpillar.
Yeah, we've both talked about the Caterpillar being. It was always said to have a salvage module, or one of the things that was
chop shop.
Chop shop, which is salvage and stuff. And I think that's probably the one module that hasn't been taken from it.
Yeah. And I think they've probably added a few others. So, like I said, I could see it having a repair one as well, and a refueling, almost make it like a garage type thing. And that seems to fit that Caterpillar aesthetic. So you can refuel fighters while you're out, a cargo area so you can dump off the ill-gotten gains, repair the ships that have been damaged, and the ones that are damaged that don't work, you just chop them up and take them back home.
Yeah, it fits with. I think it fits with the Drake aesthetic. It fits with the ideas of the ship itself.
Yeah,
doesn't tread on the other ships that are brought out around it.
Yeah,
it feels a niche. Lots of little things. And ultimately it just ends up at the end of the day, what do they want to do with the Caterpillar?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we do need a medium salvage ship.
Yeah.
And that Drake seems to be, the Drake Caterpillar does seem that it's waiting for that love.
I would say we are likely to see it like all ships these days when you see them start talk about salvage again, when they want to actually go back to the Reclaimer and the Vulture and update those. And they said that would be coming after server meshing. When? It's a when question, not if. And I reckon when they do that, they'll also tailor a ship to fit in with it.
Or it's when they add to the function, add more gameplay to the salvage, which I think
what I mean. Yeah. We're on the same page.
So when they flesh out salvage more, just like they did mining, and they bring in charges for breaking ships up or do whatever, that's when we'll see they'll bring up more. Yeah. Broken Eye has a question for us. Broken Eye says, we have the Foundation Festival coming up. What ships would you guys recommend for brand new players? I recommend the Avenger Titan myself. A few friends got it, Vesulian, and hated it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Solian, I think, is for a lot more advanced people. And what I mean by that is, like, if someone that plays a lot of video games comes in, it's like, so I had a friend come in and he plays the shit out of first-person shooters. And we went through, I took him through all the starter ships, and that's the one he kept coming back to. So again, like, we can recommend one that's good across the board, like a Cutter or an Avenger. But again, you can also tailor it to the person if you know them fairly well. So yeah, the Saulian is not going to be for everyone. I think after you go past those Algared, it really becomes one ship that you really,
Yeah.
really like. But again, give them time. Don't just chuck them straight into like a really big ship. Let them try out the little ones, and because again, they might feel like ship A and they turn out like really liking ship B. So it gives them a chance to learn, and then that teaches you which ships you can recommend to them. And again, if they want to go further, it's really it's not it's a want, not a need after a starter ship, isn't it? You know, so again, if they want to go up to like one of the medium ships like a Cutlass, Freelancer, Spirit, Zeus, whatever, then guide them in that direction. And obviously you're going into niches. The higher up you go, the more niche it becomes.
Yeah,
You know?
I think it depends on whether you're just if it's a friend, literally take them through and get rent the ships for them, let them fly the ships, to get them onto your account, let them try the ships, let them fly around, let them play, and pick a any starter ship that they like and fly.
Be slightly evil. Don't encourage them to get a bigger ship so they can be your crew.
Yeah, but if you're just someone off the blue says, "Oh, I'm looking at Star Citizen, what ship should I get?" I think hands down, the Avenger Titan is a really good ship. It's a great versatile ship. It's got good guns. It's got good living quarters. It's got a fair sized cargo.
It's the best all rounder.
It is the best all rounder. If they say, "Oh, that's too expensive," then the Cutter.
Yeah. And again, if they lean more into cargo, you could go to say something like the 315p. There's enough down there that you can tailor it. The ships that are good that we just don't recommend on price, like the Nomad. Like I cannot recommend the Nomad based on its price, right? But it is a good ship in game, and it's the same thing. Like you go up to say once you get into Cutlass territory, which is the cheapest of those mediums, it becomes 2-player. So. So if you have a Cutlass and they have an Avenger, then just get them to come with you in your Cutlass. You got to start thinking in crew terms too. I think that's the thing a lot of people
and if I'm honestly looking at someone who's wanting to get into the game and they're looking for a starter pack, I'm looking sub 100. I'm not looking at looking at a pack that's around $70.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
$70 or down is what you want them to get because that's what a normal game is.
Yeah, I will say Expat's mum highly recommends the Nomad though. Apparently it's easy to land Algared. So yeah.
Yep. Okay. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Well, look again. Like I don't think you can say a ship is good or bad based on what we're saying here. What we're saying is just not good value. It's really expensive for what it is as a ship. That's all it is. That's all we're ever saying. But again, if you can use some CCUs and get that price down, if you can justify the price, like you can afford it. Like there's a lot of people we talk to, they can't even afford the $45 starter package. It is a bit of a juxtaposition too, because if you don't have a fairly high-end computer to play this game at the moment, that's why a lot of people are pressed out, because they don't have a decent PC. Get the PC before you get the game. And again, it's just the times we live in. It's getting harder and harder at the moment, not easier. So yeah.
See, Luna Maria, you have been missed. Even people in YouTube are saying, Luna Maria, lovely to see you.
Yeah. Well, we noticed. We're
strange.
There are other people that have disappeared too that we've noticed as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We miss all our regulars who haven't been here for a while. So it's lovely. It's awesome to see you. Awesome. It makes me smile.
Henny Pig.
I do have a question for Expat. If your mum flies a Nomad, when are you going to do a stream with your mum?
Yeah, that'd be good. I've met her mum and hang out with her mum when we played some Eco. She's a lovely lady. You can totally see where Expat gets it from. Just saying.
Yep. So so Expat Pat and Expat Brat and Expat. Yeah. An Expat and an Expat Brat.
Yeah. Oh, you just did one. What? Your mum was with you? Oh, damn. All right, I missed it.
You didn't let us know.
Yeah. We should get. We'll have to get well, if we can't get an expat in, we'll get a mum in one day. We'll just talk with a mum about Star
Your mum, talk crap with your mum.
Yeah. All right. Hennypeg says regarding the inventory cargo changes, how much fidelity is too much? Well, I think that's what what we were trying to say is right now it is too much, but you can clearly tell that it's tier 0. You can clearly tell that because of things I've said in the past, like it's logical, like the example I gave you at the moment when you do the auto timers. 32 single 1 SCU containers takes exactly the same amount of time as a single 32 SCU container. That don't make sense. Because you know as well as I do, it's going to take roughly way quicker to load one container rather than 32 separate ones. So yeah, it'll change. It's definitely going to change.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, but just using your hand tractor beam, you can load a 32 SU container really quickly. So I expect the time to load to come down. I also expect the time to load cargo will depend on what services are available at the station you're at, whether you can employ quality stevedores or whether you've got to apply thugs from across the street who may rip off half your stuff. I can see the whole kit and caboodle being done in terms of loading and unloading and the services we get, but that is down the track.
Yeah.
So, officer, I had these people load my ship. I don't know where these drugs come from. Yeah, I can see that whole. It's not my boogie bag. It's not my boogie board bag, sir.
I don't think Americans would get that reference, Algared. You might want to explain that one.
We had an Australian who was arrested for smuggling dope into Indonesia.
Yeah, smuggling marijuana, and she ended up going to jail for like 10 years over it. So.
And it was, I don't know, it's not mine. It's not. I didn't put it there. I didn't. Yeah. So.
Well. Right.
So Hennypen has a question regarding law, inventory, cargo changes, etc. Not law, inventory / cargo changes. How much fidelity is too much? You just did that one.
We just did that one. Helicon question says, any recommendations on ships to use or strategies for making money with new cargo running missions? Haven't really done a lot of the cargo runs. I was really more looking at the functionality of how it actually works. And as Algared kind of rightly pointed out, it crashes quite frequently at the moment. It is getting more stable and better frame rates, but it's still crashing, and it's clearly a back-end problem, not a front-end problem. But again, looking at what we know is it's going to be the speed that you can load things. So I would say right now, a ship that would have an advantage would be like the Hull series, because it's external loading and it's kind of already designed for the tractor beams, right? Where say something like the Hercules series, you've got to carry it in up the ramp and place it and all that stuff like that. But that would be tailored more to bigger cargo boxes. But by the same token, you can still load them into the Spirit and stuff like that. So smaller ships are probably going to have an advantage initially. Right.
Yeah.
But as time goes by, though, and we get more vehicles and stuff that come in that can load stuff, that's where it'll come in. Something like the Mule just does not make a lot of sense now. When it does one SCU box, it's almost like it's designed to take things across a long distance. But why? When you could take it in a ship and it would be quicker and you can take more off it. So the Mule has become very useless very quickly to me.
The Mule, with the fact that you could put one in the back and then one in the front, kind of 2 SCU. If you're by yourself, it makes sense, but it's kind of something you'd use on a planet and have stored at the station rather than lug around with you. Yeah, I haven't tried the variants as well, but it does break. I've tried half a dozen times and I've finally got to the hangar. I didn't really try to leave the hangar. I tried doing things like decorating the hangar with flare, and a lot of the flare, you can't drop it. You can't place it because there's no hooks for it. I did long for a time when decorating things is more like Dark Age of Camelot, where you could literally place stuff anywhere you like within, had to be on the floor. It had, but you could place it anywhere rather than having it attached to links.
Just addressing what Pissball Pete's saying there in Twitch, yeah, the mule is a lot of fun, but it's if I was going to do anything with it, I'd replace those little arms with a tractor beam so it can actually pick up like a 32 SCU container. That makes so much more sense to me, because then it just works like a forklift. At the moment where it's only picking up one box, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, especially if you look at the terms of the car. Like, it was originally designed as a cargo loading. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, when you can pick up it on foot anyway, but you can pick it up with with a tractor beam on by hand quicker. What is the point of a vehicle that big? It just doesn't make sense. For a loading, unloading, it's too slow.
If we get to the point where carrying things exhausts our character, see it being helpful. I can also see if it's low tech versus the high tech stuff, which means it's
tractor beams don't work in that area. Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah. So an EMP goes off, the diesel running mule can still function, whereas the tractor beams are screwed, or with an electrical storm. So I can see scenarios where the low tech solution is the solution you go to over, say, tractor beams.
It's just driving in that shit.
Yep. So I can see those types of things, but yeah, it's a Lena Maria. If you load cargo where everyone else has a specific job, loading any ship is easy. I organize cargo into place, and the guys pass it from. Yep. Yeah, so if you've got a load master on your ship, and they work things out, that's going to have a major impact on how quickly you can do stuff, and So, and I think down the track we're going to see that work.
I've got to scratch my back on the. I got to scratch my back on the wall now because my arm, ever since I pulled the tendons in it about 2 years ago, I can't reach around my back anymore. Like, I'm.
So it's true. Execute is a bear. Yep. Okay.
So I'm gonna get on the corner of a wall and go because I can't reach it. Yeah, I was driving.
Glass Sword says the mule also has 6 boxes for the rack. So
yeah.
So yeah. So
but they're quarter SCU. They're not 1 SCU.
So you can put lots of little stuff in there. So I think the fact that you got those quarter boxes, you've got 2 big boxes, the one in the back and the one in the front. It does enable a single person to load a lot more or move a lot more from a larger distance.
But again, it sounds like it was built for the distribution centers. And remember, we did see it photos of it in the distribution center. Yep. That seems to me more what it's for, like taking things around a distribution center, not for loading and unloading ships, because that just seems too slow.
It's your office meal cart or your office mail delivery cart rather than something else. Yeah. So, broken AI. Do you think we'll see a referral ship for the Foundation Festival? I think we answered that earlier.
Yeah, I think we will, because it seems really consistent with what they've been doing. There's basically been a sale every month. So, yeah.
Yep. Maizmata Tomoko says, Inforunners question. I look better. Well, thank you. How am I feeling? I am still feeling like my chest is not happy. So it is aching and painful. It is always aching and painful. I don't like the new normal.
You describe it as a flutter.
A flutter or a occasional thump to the chest. Yes, it's not nice. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I keep wanting to go into Zeus mode.
Wait, explain Zeus mode. What, you just start throwing fireballs, or do you do they come out of your butt?
Zeus.
Like, where do these lightning bolts come from?
No, not Zeus the god, Dr. Zeus. I don't like ringing. I am
Zeus. just see Algared up there, like throwing.
Oh look, my students are lucky I'm not Zeus.
Yeah.
It's just less.
Yeah. All right, we've got about 25 minutes left, and we've got like 6 questions, so we're going to end early today, I reckon.
And we're going through these quickly because we're up to Broken AI. Do you guys see Ashes of Creation server meshing video? No.
No, but I did hear about it. So yeah, but it's good. Look, any competition for Star Citizen is a good thing, because it's never good to have a monopoly. people get complacent. Not the saying that CIG is complacent, but it keeps you on your toes if you've got someone that's like nipping at your heels, you know?
Yep. Looks like the betas to it would be good for a group watch if you haven't seen it yet.
I wouldn't argue they're beating us to it because we proved it like last year at the end of last year. So technically they did beat them.
Yep.
And again,
yeah, is it a question of were they showing but done, or have they got it out in a game?
Yeah, we'd have to see the video of ourselves. Maybe you and I can have a look at that
Yep.
later. Broken AI, link me on Discord, man, and we'll have a look at it if you don't mind. Appreciate it.
Zadef has an RSI Zeus called the Algared. The Zeus Owl.
Yeah.
The Zeus AL. Yeah. I like it. If you can sell it to CIG, I'm quite happy for it to, you know.
It's got the Hurston Volt guns on it, so it just shoots lightning everywhere. Yeah.
Yep. It's got Hurston weapons on it. It's got Volt guns. Yeah. And it has a great big booming engine that comes into atmosphere to get
the whole cargo bay is converted, and it's really just a massive harem room where all the cat girls sit. Yeah. That's what it is.
Zeus does not have the cat girls.
Yeah. It is. It's a luxury harem escort. That's what it is. Yeah. Got to protect those cat girls with the guns. Pew, pew, pew.
He does not miss a beat when he gets an opportunity to throw in an insult or snide remark. So evil.
I've got to show Expat again because it's funny. Where is it?
Yes.
Where is it? I'm going back to the right from the start of today. If I can find it again.
Yeah. Back to the beginning. That's right.
I had multiple people send me this because it was funny. So, Expat, if you're watching, I had people sending me this that they saw Algared on the telly. Spin image.
My response was, I'm not Conehead. When the movie Coneheads came out, yes, I did get, back in the day, I did have students call me Conehead.
You got to admit, if you take off the Conehead part, he's pretty similar.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'd argue you are a Conehead, but
I am a Conehead. That's right.
Yeah. Egghead. I have to get a photo of you on board gaming together at CitizenCon. Crack, what do you call it? Got to crack a few eggs.
The chrome domes. Yeah.
Yeah, the chrome domes. So yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought people enjoy that one if you missed it earlier on this morning, but yeah, I thought they were on point when they said that. Anyway. Kudi Adi Mundi. Yeah, what's his name? Kai Adi Mundi. Yeah, that's his name. He's got a weird ass name. Yeah. He's an
Wastelanders in YouTube says that I look and dress more like the guy on the video game Hitman. Yes, several people have said that.
Oh,
They've called me a Hitman today.
You're
not the only one. You're about the 5th or 6th who's made that claim.
I challenge you to find someone that looks like me, but anyway, I think I'm the Space Hobo looks pretty unique to me.
Yeah.
Right. What are we up to now? Super Shaved? I'm late to the show. You may have already answered this. Do you think that server meshing will need to be in prior to Polaris? Absolutely. Yeah. We think back to when the Reclaimer was dropped. Algared and I have talked about this a few times. Everyone wanted to spawn their own Reclaimer, and it would crash the server. Once they got to about 15, it would just die. The Polaris is probably more detailed than the Reclaimer would be a fair, an apt description, but the same problem will happen again. Even when you have too many 890 jumps, it can kill the server, right? And having a ship of that size, people are going to, it's new hotness. People are going to come out and they're going to spawn them, and it's going to cause issues. That's why I think your first intro to for server meshing probably be one that you can do a tour of when you think Algared. Before, yeah.
Look, when it comes to the whole issue of server meshing and the problem for large ships, 100% they need it.
Yeah.
And you're right. When we used to do the bowling at Orsa, we'd load half a dozen Reclaimers and bowl with Starfarers, and it would lag for server. And you'd hear people in chat saying, "Who spawned a Reclaimer?" Because suddenly,
I remember like little events, like we were doing racing stuff, and I'll just turn up with a Reclaimer and go, "Hey, let's make the Reclaimer a part of the racing thing." People just get real. I've only got 10 frames because the Reclaim would just kill their frame rate. So yeah, and that's just frame rate. That's not even talking about back end stuff. So
yeah. So, and at the moment they still don't have the culling, so they're not the interior ships are still fully spawning.
Yep.
So I think once they get and server messaging, then the bigger ships are going to come.
Yeah.
But until then, they can't do it. John, I have had this itch on the back of my neck for some reason. I don't know why.
Which John are you talking to? What John are you talking?
John Pierce. John Priest.
Yeah.
Ask me if I've got a barcode on the back of my neck.
Okay.
It would be put me as a hitman.
Hey John, we'll get him really drunk at CitizenCon. He'll never know. Let's go take him just mug him and take him into the bar, down to the tattoo parlor. And then you and I will work out what the bar. We make it so you scan it and it takes you to some website. That'll be. It takes you to this photo. It takes you.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll keep. I'm sure.
Old Man Hurston isn't an assassin. He just hires the assassins. Yeah. That's my view.
Bob Hopkins in the first Super Mario Brother movie. Bob Hopkins. Bob Hopkins had blonde hair. Oh, anyway, I'll have a look at it later. Right, down the last 3 questions. So, Mizmat Tomato says, question, who do you think they mentioned the Nautilus wasn't being worked on during the... Wait, why do you think they mentioned that the Nautilus wasn't being worked on during the dev chats? Also, what manufacturer would they use for a medium-large salvage ship? All right, so because a lot of people want the Nautilus to be worked on, they showed off mines a couple of weeks ago, and they've showed off mines before. Yep. A mine can be used for gameplay completely independent from the Nautilus, but every time a mine's shown on screen, people just think of the mine layer ship.
Yep.
Right? So they think they're working on a mine. Yeah. So they're just trying to beat people to the punch and say, oh, the Nautilus is being worked on. No, it's not. There's no Aegis ships in the pipeline. Other than ships that are variants, much like the Saber and stuff like that. When they go back and do, I'd have to think about it. Actually, there's not many really other big Aegis ships that need to be done besides the Nautilus, is there?
No, not that I can recall. I'm not going to pretend I know. I'm.
Well, Idris has been.
Yep. It's getting 9 o'clock. Yeah. I'm starting to run out of steam. So
no. But well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll just lay it out. There isn't really, unless they bring out another big new Aegis ship, there isn't any others to be worked on. That is kind of the last one.
And in terms of capital ships, in terms of the military capital ships, the one we're waiting for really is the Anvil, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Capital ship.
What do you get from doing the Nautilus?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Mine.
Like well, again, you can put the mines into Star Citizen, you don't need the mine layer.
Yep, and the other stuff that the Nautilus has is the size of a turret similar to Perseus.
And we'll get ships before that come out with size 7s anyway. I reckon you'll see the Kraken before you'll see the Nautilus, put it that way.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I think it's more likely because the Kraken has more value. So yeah.
All right. So as for manufacturers of potential medium salvage, we've said Drake, obviously. Yep. But what are some of the others? Now you and I have gone over this a lot. But again, it could be any manufacturer that kind of slots into that. And some of the ones that you and I know we talked about, Consolidated Outland needs a lot more ships.
I could see Grey Cat. I know people. I saw people in chat earlier suggesting Argo. I don't think Argo. I think they're more stevedoras and cargo hauling and maneuvering ships.
I would slightly contradict you there and say I think we will see a salvage vehicle, and I reckon it would come from Grey Cat. I don't think it would be a medium ship though from Grey Cat.
But I think we'll see a vehicle from Grey Cat that's salvage because they do them. They do that mining aspect.
Yep.
I suppose I could see Argo do that as well because when you look back at their lore, the very first thing they kind of develop is a system for repairing rail lines. So there's kind of that crossover with salvage repair, and I always look at salvage and repair as two sides of the same coin. So
agreed.
So
yeah, I think the other one that we kind of came up with, he said salvage, though he didn't say repair, was we often talked about the repair one, and I know I'm only bringing this up because of what you just said there. Half repair or salvage was, we also said, was something that was like a flying garage that could go down and have vehicles come up into them, but it would have to be bigger than the Vulcan, obviously, and they could get repaired, but it also would allow a ship to possibly, like a smaller ship, to land in them. So kind of like taking just the Scarab and only the Scarab part of the Crucible. And again, Anvil falls into that. Consolidated Outland falls into that, and Argo. I start to think outside that, and you start to get into outliers of ships that the manufacturers that could technically fall into that, but they don't really. Even Argo itself don't have a repair ship at the moment, right? So it's really where they want to take it. But yeah, I would kind of hope that it's not Drake or Aegis. I'd like it to be something different. And again, the one I keep coming back to is Consolidated Outland. Just more and more and more, it makes.
We don't really have Consolidated Outland ships. We've got the Mustangs.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Nomad, and we've got the.
Well, you take the Pioneer and kind of think like a Crucible. You can start to see how it looked pretty quickly, right? Because you got the Pioneer that kind of surrounds the whole area, and then you kind of shrink it down to a garage.
Yeah,
you know, you can see pretty quickly it would work as a Consolidated Outland. It's just, do they want that? And also, you got to think now. Also, is repair and salvage and fabrication all come into? They're very close now.
Where do they? At what point do they intercede and lock together?
Yeah. Is it a hybrid? Does it do repair and salvage, or is it strictly a chop type thing? Does it just strip things down and that's all it does? And,
you know, I could see. Just thinking that I could see a repair ship, kind of a bit like the way they sold the Odyssey. Got a stripping tool at the front, so it can go up and strip stuff. So instead of the mining tool, and at the back, it's got the arms to repair and fix things up. And it uses, and that would make more sense because you strip the stuff, and it's using the stuff it strips to do repairs. So I could see that. But yeah, it'd be nice to see that hybrid type ship that does both aspects. But
so it's really up to them where they want to go. And I think I honestly think it would have to more than likely be a new manufacturer because, let's be honest, things like Drake and Anvil are a little bit more filled out than some of the others. And there is just some massive gaps in some of the lines up for like Crusader and Crusader a little bit more now, but Consolidated Outland still only got the 3 ships. That's it.
And as Masmato Tomoko says in YouTube, you know, I think they haven't done anything on Consolidated Outland because they haven't actually developed that design language. And I think you're right.
Yep, absolutely.
And once they decide they want to work on it, they'll do a family of ships.
If they literally said there was not enough space between the Caterpillar and the Kraken, you can only imagine the gap between a Nomad and a Pioneer.
So,
yeah.
No worries, Masmato. Or Masmato.
All right.
We do try to pay attention to both our chats, YouTube and Twitch, and engage with you guys. So
Bat Zerga says, have you tried lossless scaling tool, new frame gen 2.0 in SC? No, I have not. I don't even know what that is. For me, it fixes the game performance in the P. Is that AMD thing? I don't have an AMD card, so I haven't tried it. For me, it fixes the game performance in the PU and removes the CPU bottleneck performance in cities. Makes SC playable in PU like AC. Lossless scaling tool.
I haven't tried
Gen 2.0. Let me have a look.
I find my
Google that.
runs fairly nicely at the moment. So Masmato says he will link it for you.
Yep, please do. Or link it to me on Discord. If you link it in chat, it's just gonna. It's gonna.
So if you send him the link via Discord, that will be awesome.
We had. I don't think if you guys realize, but when we first started streaming, there was so many bots that would come in and advertise every site under the sun, and that's why links and all that are dead because it just protected you guys more than anything else.
And so in the junk, so we just killed
and the random person that's a bot can't go on Discord and find my name because they don't have that intelligence, but you guys do. So just go on Discord and shoot it to me on Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on Steam for $4. Okay. All right. That's pretty cheap. You're saying it's on Steam. I'll have a look at that afterwards.
Yeah.
Frame Gen 2.1. All right. We'll have a look at that. See, maybe it's got some magic that it works in the background.
Yeah.
All right, last question of the day from Broken AI says, do you think we will ever see other SC media, Star Citizen animated series or shorts or books or graphic novel? Now, I'll tell you right now, the lore team would love a book. Like they would go to town, don't you think, Algared, on
that? Book, graphic novel, one of the last silicon frame, or the way you used to cartoons on the individual frames. One of the last cartoons made in that way was Wing Commander Academy.
Yeah,
which Mark Hamill voiced, along with Josh McDowell, I think, doing reprising his role as Admiral Torwin, and Mark Hamill did as Blair. But that looked at the character as Blair and others in the Wing Commander Academy series, and that was a cartoon series that went for had about 8 or 9 episodes, and you can actually still get that on in Amazon or in other places. But quite an enjoyable little cartoon to watch. Old style cartoon, but yeah. Oh, you missed everything, Jordan. You'll have to go back and watch a 3-hour stream.
Yeah.
We ambled over, multiple topics.
Too much today to go over, but yeah, we're about to wrap up. I'm just looking for someone to raid. I think we're going to raid Zero State. I can't see anyone else that I really know. Looking for the usual affairs. Yeah, it seems to be quiet. It's gone all quiet. Must be the quiet before the storm. Algared.
Oh, it's always nice to have a quiet day, quiet before the storm. So always lovely.
Yeah, I think we'll raid Zero State. Tell him we're very jealous about his new PC, and where do we get one? What and when's he sending it to us? Yeah.
Yeah. Where
do we get it in front of his customized PC case from? So yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right then. I don't know what our show's going to be on this weekend. I've been reading a lot of the comments people have said about the time and stuff, and I can tell some people are worried about it. But yeah. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I really enjoyed last week's episode. I know Algared did as well. But yeah. All right. Twitch said goodbye to YouTube. YouTube say goodbye to Twitch.
Bye, Twitch.
And they're gone. 101 of them are gone. And as for you guys left on YouTube, I don't have anyone to connect to because, well, that's just the way YouTube works.
Yep.
All right. With that, then
we can't go to Expat because she actually came to us. So
yep. No, I look for people that we know. Paul's not on there. None of the other Inforunners are on there. So yeah, it's obviously just a quiet day. All right. With that,
today, you guys just get to chill.
Yep. But yeah. Hope you guys had a good time. We did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went extra mile at the end of the video on the credits. With that said, then, he's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.